You the best. You the best.
Well, hail, squirrel friends. Welcome to a very special Fireside Chat. We have an extra special guest with us tonight. We have our very own Kenji-san joining
You the
us.
best. You the best.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Hey, Daily
Hey,
Nightshade, how's it going, Connie-chan? How you been?
doing good
Good, good.
today.
Yeah, we got really good rain here today in lovely Southern California.
Right, for like the first
Awesome.
time this year, so I figured a nice little fireside chat would be good.
Nice chilling. I don't know where's my not my thermometer. What am I talking about? I was thinking about phasmophobia with thermometers. My temperature gauge. It should have been like 56 today. Oh, it's 52 right now in Anaheim.
Did it hit
bad.
an EMF 5 yet?
I don't need no spooks in here right now. It's too cold and scary.
I know.
Freezing temps. I get freezing temps. Get my frost breath.
Frost breath. We got
Yeah.
freezing temps. Check for fingerprints.
Right? Oh gosh. Oh, but no, it's been a good day. Been chilling. Watched. What did I watch? I guess before I have the standard like breakfast for cereal for breakfast, and then like ramen for ramen maruchan for lunch, and then
Ooh.
dinner I'm just gonna have tortellini with meatballs.
Oh, nice. I got some ravioli coming up for dinner too, so.
Pasta's like the coolest thing I've ever discovered. Just because it's easy to make. You just put the pasta, pre-bought pasta in hot water and boil it for a few minutes, and then drain the water, and then add the sauce, and bam.
And you're
you
done.
And you can add whatever meat you want to it.
And it's like super tasty too, depending on
Yeah.
what kind of sauce you have, because you can either go like Alfredo sauce or like a marinara sauce. It's like you can go however you kind of want, which is really nice.
Exactly. Right. Just season it with garlic salt. It depends, not everybody seasons their food, but season it with salt and pepper is perfect. Garlic salt is like probably the best thing you can season your food with.
Oh,
my gosh.
yeah,
So good.
I like garlic with my garlic, so.
Extra garlic. Loving it.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Goodness.
Well, I'm glad you're having a good day so far.
Yeah.
All right, you excited for video games this year?
Oh, excited for video games. We got movies. We've got shows coming in this year. We've got a lot this year. It seemed like last year, it's like, oh, stuff's coming out, but it's like, well, I'm in quarantine, so I'm just going to enjoy it, or I'm just going to go through it. A lot of good stuff does come out in 2020, but then again, a lot of disappointments. A couple of disappointments came out in 2020, which, were games that I expected to be the huge biggest thing of 2020 ended up being the biggest disappointments of 2020, unfortunately. Like one of my first disappointment was Cyberpunk. I haven't played Cyberpunk, but I have so many friends who were hyped up about it and loved it, and they're like, CD Projekt Red's great because they did The Witcher, and I'm like, oh, I know they're great because they did The Witcher. I've seen people play through The Witcher. I bought like the first and second Witcher on Steam for like on sale, but I haven't played it yet. Still on, gotta get to that.
You gotta play through the third one. I just did my first playthrough last year, and I bought the DLC. I haven't done the DLC yet, but oh my god, I'm already in love with the series, and I want to go like back and redo my playthrough because apparently I got one of the worst endings, and I'm like, no,
Really?
I can do better than this. I have to redo this.
I thought you did the DLC. Wasn't that like the Hunter's Wild Hunt? Isn't that the?
Well, the third one is the Wild Hunt, but the DLC is Blood and Wine, where I think they include like a kind of a vampire storyline that I haven't gotten into it. Yeah. But I'm like, I was so unsatisfied with how like my playthrough went. I'm like, no, I gotta go back and fix Jerry's storyline. I can do better.
I'm a good ending there.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But it's really good. You should definitely look into it. But yeah, no,
Definitely.
Cyberpunk. Oh boy.
Like you would watch the trailers and then you saw Keanu Reeves as like a cyborg arm and his name is Johnny Samurai in there and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna go ahead and tackle this, and then all of a sudden we don't know what happened. It's just like the game came out, it looked fine, but then like comparatively to what the critics were given, because the critics are specifically given certain parts of the game only PC only to review and certain media to share upon the reviews for their critiques, and that wasn't fair because it didn't include the PS4, the Xbox,
all the different
One,
consoles,
like,
which is
the
like
old consoles, and then the current gen consoles weren't even on there yet. Like they didn't get to check out and critique that. But with all these bugs that came out, and sometimes I would watch streamers play this on their newly bought PS5, and that thing would crash, and it would have like that gray error occurred, unable to read game kind of message, and I'm like, that's disappointing. For one, it's on a PS5, and two, the game is just not running properly. It won't even run past going into your car or something. I would see so many bugs in and out. I mean, different people have different experiences. Not everyone's gonna have the experiences, But that was one of the games I didn't think about buying, but I thought, hey, I'm just gonna watch somebody play that because it's like a GTA first person, but then it's cyberpunky and it's robots and
Yeah, it's supposed to be like open world. You get to experience like this futuristic, sci-fi kind of world and get immersed in it. But then I feel like the hype just kind of overtook it. And then when it finally did come out, there were just so many issues. It was like, you guys even had extra time. You pushed this back and it still wasn't quite done. And it's like,
that's true.
But how? Like,
it's just, I want to say it definitely is going to be the pandemic's fault on that, because you can't have your whole team there working on it at the same time, giving you immediate feedback and input. You have to pass the data left and right and transfer it, and hopefully that people can critique it right and fix the bugs in there, but not everybody's going to get to test it all at once and give you the feedback immediately that you need to fix your game, to get what you need and take care of.
Right. So like the turnaround to fix bugs or issues is like taking 10 times as long, because now you're not in the same office or even like down the hall. It's like, hey, can you check this out for me? And then like 30 seconds later, hey, yeah, there's this issue. Now you got to like send it out, wait for them to respond, wait for it to come back, and then
recode
fix the problem.
Everything.
Yup.
It's horrible, and it's strenuous, and that's the people who are healthy enough to go back to work. Some people, maybe they got the virus, maybe they got sick, maybe something happened and they just can't survive without not working, and stuff happens. Some people had to leave companies. Just all these little things because of a bad disease that ruined us. I like how it says kitty. I was gonna say I like how it says kitty cam right below me, but then I realized there's a kitty cam below me. I thought it said Keonix Dude is kitty cam. I'm like, I'm not a cat.
No, you are Keonix Dude. Kitty cam's down there.
That's funny. Oh yeah, kitties are more active when there's sunlight hitting them or something.
Fall asleep more.
Oh, it's like, it's so relaxing.
Yeah, it's like they recharge their kitty batteries with the sun, but then they just blop.
Yeah, they overcharge. That's cute. But yeah, Cyberpunk was something I was hoping that people who bought it would be very hyped up for. Really, like, it would just receive the praise and the hype that it lived up for. But sadly it came to close. It did what like Bethesda did with like Fallout 76.
It
did one of those things. It's just like disappointing.
And it definitely just
no, dropped the ball. It dropped the ball. But that's Cyberpunk 2077. I know there's a big patch coming out that they're gonna fix all these bugs. I feel like every game nowadays is coming out and it's gonna have bugs, and then people are like, well, since it's online now, we can just shoot them the patch online. Here's an update. You don't play your game for a bit because we're gonna update it, and it's not gonna have that bug anymore.
But it's like, I also miss like when games came out and they were done. Like that was the complete game. Like you didn't have to wait like 2 more months, or you knew in 2 months there was going to be like an extra patch or like a DLC or like extra story or something that you like then had to pay for. Like I miss when you got a game and that was it. That was the complete story.
Yeah, it was I think it was like a Nintendo 64. I think was the last time I would see like a full like cartridge. Anything that had like a physical cartridge come out, you don't have to worry about having to update it anymore.
Yeah.
Know that this game is what it is, but if they did a sequel or like an expansion, right, it would come out as a whole separate cartridge. And just like how Majora's Mask, technically they were thinking about putting it in with Ocarina of Time back in Nintendo 64, but then they thought, it's gonna take too long. We're not gonna have enough time to put it all in there. Let's just make it a separate game. And that's Cyberpunk. That's just Cyberpunk right there. That's how I feel Cyberpunk was supposed to be. The other game that disappointed me, for now, until updates occur and hopefully they polish it. That's what it is. It was a lot of the games were missing their finished polish.
Yeah.
Marvel's Avengers was the one I had the most hype about. I mean, obviously, for me, when the first trailer popped out, like the visuals of the characters, they completely look like. You know how they did the whole the Spaceballs parody where they're like, you idiots, you captured their stunt doubles.
Yeah.
Like people were saying about the Avengers characters, like, you're catching the MCU stunt doubles. Like, it wasn't supposed to be like from MCU at all. It's supposed to be completely separate. It's its own entity, because in the Marvel comics, there's so many universes. It could be from anywhere.
Yeah.
So like when they did the demo, they fixed the visuals a bit for the characters so they don't look as like weird or wonky or stunt doubly.
Yeah,
Um,
Captain America's face, like at the end. If you
just
had the other skin, the old school, like I think it was like the 76 skin or something, where he
yeah.
had the old school helmet, his jaw was just completely dislocating and like, whoa, and it's like, oh
Oh,
no, Cap.
like off. They gotta fix that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It was like there was initially there was hope for that game. The collector's edition didn't really grab me. There was like one thing in there that I wanted, probably was the Cap statue. Everything else was like a pin or a little trinket and like
It was like
nothing
little
really.
bingle bongles and not something like
Yeah.
really meaty or like a
Yeah.
really
It's not
cool
like
case, like a metal like case that the game came in or
let me show you.
something.
It's nothing like let me grab something. It's not from any video game. Now this isn't from a video game. I just bought this because it was at an expo. But like, I would get like the Assassin's Creed Collector's Edition, and I have like a
Ooh.
statue like this big, right? This is a Street Fighter Ken,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh,
thing,
that looks cool.
right? Like, okay, this comes off,
Oh, shoot.
right?
Wow.
Yeah, and then like Ken can also come off, right?
Hmm.
Also like ceramic, I guess, because it's kind of like a hard shell.
Yeah, it's not like
Yeah.
those soft plastics. I think I have
No.
something. Yeah, my Lilith is kind of the same from Borderlands, where it's like the hard plastic.
Yeah, 'cause
But
if I break
it
them,
looks
I'll have to glue them
nice.
back together. Yeah, but like this stuff, I got that for like what 70. It was like at an anime expo, and it was like Sunday, so it was like a deal, so it was like $70.
Oh, you
And
got
it
a
didn't-
deal on Sunday
yeah,
because people
'cause-
are like, I don't want to take this home. Make a
Exactly.
deal with me.
I don't want to take this back to the warehouse, and I got to get rid of this. Oh, there's no box for it. $75, and originally they were charging like 150 for it. I'm like, sure, I'll take it. Like
Yeah.
that was $75, but that was like, it was worth it. It looked cool. I was planning later when I move, because we're moving to Fullerton like in February.
Oh,
It's like
wow.
20 minutes away. Yeah, it's a better apartment, better parking. That whole thing.
Nice.
But like I want to get like a nice like display, not like IKEA display, but you know like those shelves that have like cubicles in them.
Oh, yeah, they're kind of like segmented where it's like you can
Yeah.
have like different like shadow boxes. So it's like you
Yeah,
have.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you have like one theme in one box and then you have another one that's like on different layers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do that with like some lighting in the back, but like
Get some
that's like a
LEDs.
yeah, get some nice LEDs in the back there. But that's like what I mean. Like you can get stuff from that. Like even the Assassin's Creed Collector's Edition, the Black Flag. I have that. It's like Ken Wayne. He's like on this pole of a massive ship, and he's actually hanging with his like swashbuckling sword, and
So he's
got
like
really good
hanging
detail.
off of it.
Yeah. So you get like these nice, good statues. But then you have this collector's edition from the Marvel's Avengers by Square Enix. Square Enix again is like a big name. I guess that's the publisher. I know they didn't make the game, but they published the game, and that's their name on it.
Mhm.
And I feel like with a name that big, this is all Final Fantasy. This is like all the Tomb Raiders, all the Square Enix related material, Kingdom Hearts. Like you'd
Yep.
expect them to have higher quality care and more, I guess, urgency for the game. And when the game came out, the best thing about that game, aside from playing with friends,
Yep.
even though initially when the game first came out, online with friends was kind of impossible. It was a task. Like it shouldn't be hard to connect with your friends and play. Remember
Oh
how many
my
times we
God.
kept trying to get together to play and then
I
getting
remember we were
disconnected?
trying to like connect, and it's like you would be in for 1 second, and then you would
Yeah.
disconnect. We're like, damn it! we
Servers
just
were having issues.
yeah, and it's
Oh, they fixed that now, by the way.
well, how
Yeah.
many months ago was that? Like
Right?
6 months
Exactly.
ago.
But sometimes it's a little too late to go back.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're just like, oh.
It's like you missed the wave of excitement, and then it's like, no, we can't go back. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. Sometimes the thing that got me through the game was like playing the campaign. The campaign was like my favorite thing out of that whole game. I mean, like you get to play as Kamala Khan, and she basically portrayed as like a regular fan
Mhm.
before the whole Terrigen like stuff filled the air, and then some people got powers and some didn't.
Yeah,
You know,
and then
it's like-
all of like A-Day happening. Like the story was really
Yeah.
good of like how they
Mhm.
broke it down, and then
Mhm.
how they incorporated the different Avengers. Like you had to play certain Avengers to do certain missions.
Yeah.
But it flowed pretty well. It's just some mechanics felt really clunky, and it was again kind
Mhm.
of going back to that thing. It's like you guys aren't like putting out finished, polished products, and you
Yeah.
should, because you're these big companies that have this
Mhm.
long-standing history of like all these great games. You know, like you just said, Kingdom Hearts, Tomb
Mhm.
Raider. You know, just it's not
all
like
the
you
Final
haven't done it
Fantasy,
before.
all of the Final Fantasy. Yeah,
Yeah,
they just
all
they
Final
have the
Fantasies.
reputation. That's the thing, is like their reputation is now like slightly tarnished because they have become slightly was it not associated with the whole you're like Bethesda now, you're releasing a half-finished product, you're like
Yeah.
CD Projekt Red on Cyber 2077, a half-finished product. Like, this is what I'm expecting of Square Enix now. I'm not expecting any more A+ games
They're
unless
building
it's a
bad
Final
reputation
Fantasy
for
game.
themselves, and it's like they
Exactly.
have no one else to blame but themselves. And then it's like,
Right.
don't be surprised if you don't get as many like pre-orders for your next game because
Mhm.
you didn't put out a finished clean product.
Exactly. So those were the two games that I felt were super hyped and really well like hyped. I mean, obviously there's like the other half that said, "Oh, this game is gonna bomb. This game sucks. They look at the character model. It's horrible. The gameplay is gonna be horrible." The gameplay was fun. I like doing the combos and leveling up my characters and learning that there was moves. And then I love how they used references from like movies and shows of the characters like fighting system inside, and they implemented that into their system, into their fight combat tech tree. That's where I stand for those two games for 2020.
But coming up, what are you looking forward to, or what's kind of already piqued your interest so far?
I'm definitely gonna pick up Monster Hunter Rise for the Switch. I've been playing Monster Hunter since it's been like the series itself, the franchise. I got into it when it was on the 3DS. My friend Andrew, he got me into that for the Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, which is over here. It's called It's Ultimate for the Americanized version.
Oh, that's right.
And it's Monster Hunter Tri or something like that. And apparently there are different versions, but the American version has different things to it. But it's not too big of a difference. It's like the same thing. And then Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate was on the 3DS as well, so I got that. That's where like my favorite Riven, the Brachydios, the punchy T-Rexy guy, he came out. That's when I first found him. It was fun. So then I jumped from there, and then when I found out it was coming out on console on Monster Hunter World, that I played that and I was like, wait, there's a tutorial. They never had tutorials in Monster Hunter before Monster Hunter World. So they show you how to do things. There's time to tell you where everything is on the map and how to get to it. So it's like an easy version of everything that I had to deal with back then. Where it's like, back then, they're just like, oh, something's happening to the island. You got to go find out what it is. And then you have to pay for your missions to do those quests. You have to pay money out of your pocket to just do quests in the old versions.
Oh, shoot.
Just go ahead and do it. And if you win, you win. If you lose, you can keep doing as much as you want without losing any money. And that was like the big up for me. The graphics were beautiful. Obviously, the world. I think it was to also display how great the game could be. So then it went from that, and then they brought out Iceborne, and they brought more stuff, and then the music was just like if you hear the dun 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 dun, like you know exactly what monster is gonna come, right? You're gonna have that B-52 bomber coming in when you hear the. Just so many monsters, so many musics, like the association. Like Monster Hunter World is probably the best thing that's happened to Capcom. And let me just pull it up real quick. Best Capcom selling
with
game.
Monster Hunter World, when they came out, it's almost like they made it a little bit more like easy to digest for somebody who's new coming into the franchise versus definitely. If you've been a long time fan already playing it since it's come out on all the other like DSs or something. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, because that was my first experience with Monster Hunter, that was pretty good because I was kind of already used to different, fighting games. So the tutorial was a lot easier to, kind of pick up. But it was it still has a learning curve though, because I carded so many times the first few times I played.
It's a learning experience, but it's good to learn the experience. Like you get carded so many times, and then you'll learn how to not get carded by learning the pattern. It's either you're gonna learn, or you're just gonna keep failing, and then you're gonna get frustrated with the game, and you're gonna throw it away, and you're gonna say, "I'm never gonna learn this." That's giving up perspective. But if you have someone I had someone there to teach me how to do it, to show me, "Hey, learn to evade. Oh, you got hit. Well, learn next time. Now look at the monster. Just like you gotta see the patterns. Like they gotta give you hints because." The Monster Hunter World tells you only so much until you don't like do it,
Right. Well, and then it also helps like having the multiplayer aspect too, so that if you are playing with someone, then that learning curve isn't as stark because you have somebody there helping you as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's exactly what it is. Like that's exactly how it is, and it's more fun with friends, as they say, right? So now Monster Hunter Rise, it's only exclusive for the Switch right now, for at least for the first year, which is why Nintendo paid for that much money. They're gonna get a full 12 months of it on the Switch only. But I played the demo on that thing, and I'm gonna love it. It's like you have the airborne capabilities of an insect glaive, but I can be a hammer and move that much through the air. Like with the wire bug system, it's so cool. With the wyvern riding system, you can definitely just make a monster fight another monster with your friend riding on one, you fight on the other. They have like a little monster battle thing going on. There's still territorial battles. There's a lot of stuff that they have from Monster Hunter World in Monster Hunter Rise, but then they added more stuff and they brought back again a nice cultural feeling for it, where it's not just Westerners colonizing an island with monsters on it. It's more of like Japan they're already settled, and there's like these Japanese culture looking characters, and it's not Japan, it just has that culture, right?
It has that aesthetic. Yeah,
it has the aesthetic, right? But then something's happening about like these monsters are getting all corrupted and they're rampaging around the island, so now you have to figure out what's going on and how to stop this. And you can do it with friends. You can have 2 dogs, you can have 2 cats, you can have a dog and a cat, and you can traverse the land a lot more.
Oh, you can change your palico.
Oh yeah, you can change your palico. You can have 2 palicos, you can have 1 palico, and a palamute. You can have 2 palamutes. It's such a great
double kitties.
See that demo, because there's tutorial levels in the demo. There's 2 tutorial levels in the demo, and then there's the hunt of the Great Kezu, which is like the what's it called, the Kuluyaku, I guess, of Monster Hunter Rise, and then you have the Mizutsune, which is like a snake wyvern. I don't even know what they called it. I wasn't paying attention.
Like a wyvern, kind of.
But she's like a long dragon looking like bubble shooting dragon. But she's really.
You mean the world serpent Jormungandr from Smite?
Not that big. She's not that big, but dang, if she was that big, that'd be scary.
That'd be funny.
But Mizutsune is it's a bubble dragon. She was a bubble dragon. She was in Monster Hunter Generations, but I never played that one. But Generations is supposed to be all the previous monsters in that one game and all that stuff. It's kind of like a collaboration kind of thing. But definitely Monster Hunter Rise. Oh my god. And you can also now, I don't know if you've seen the trailers, but now your character has like little quips and stuff that they say out loud.
It's more customizable now, where they kind of just tweaked little things, but it was almost just, it makes it more personal for your play style as well as whoever you're playing with.
Exactly. They have more of the quality of life stuff on there.
Yeah, more attention to little details, which I think if you're a long-standing fan with the Monster Hunter, franchise, that's what you're looking for. You want those little tiny nums,
Exactly. Oh man, but yeah, that's one of the games on the Switch that I'm looking forward to this year. The other one I'm looking forward to is definitely before I jump into that, Monster Hunter World is 14.9 million sold. The next game after that in the history of Capcom is Resident Evil 5 with 7.6 million, and this is across all versions on anything. So Monster Hunter is actually doubled in sales that the highest Resident Evil could.
Really? That's surprising.
Yeah. I think it's because also Japan used to think this culture was Monster Hunter is big in Japan. The Westerners, they don't really see it that much. They don't, because I don't think they promoted it as much as they did in Japan. It was it's still big in Japan. It's like Final Fantasy big in Japan. It's like everything that was traditionally from Japan is big, but when you bring it over the world, across the world, and share it and promote it and market it properly, you can make lots of money off of it. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I want to play with the Japanese people are playing because they have great games too, but yeah, that was
they finally hopped on the train. It's like, hey, this is actually really cool. Oh, you think? They've had this series for years.
Exactly. The next game that I was thinking about looking into for 2021 is Pokemon Snap. New Pokemon Snap on the Switch.
So it's not a reboot of the 64 Pokemon Snap, but it's a completely kind of new version for the Switch.
Correct. Yeah, they are bringing in the new Pokemon, Alolan Pokemon, different versions of Pokemon. You'll see old Pokemon, but you're a completely different character. You're on a completely different track. There's different sceneries. I guess they just kind of just advertise the scenery as it being a thing. I'm pretty sure you still have to do the whole like throw an apple to lure some Pokemon out and all that stuff.
And then you have to get a photo of it, because I remember
photo of
playing the original, 64 Pokemon Snap, like, oh gosh, this might have been already like 5 or 6 years ago, with Super Token, and that was my first time playing Pokemon Snap, but it was so much fun. But like, it's almost like they had you on like a little like track system, and then it's like
you're on a rail.
And then you just take the photos. But now with like the development and technology, I can definitely see it being way more open world. So it's like you're kind of exploring, and then you run into a wild encounter, and then you just have that option to bring up your camera instead of having to be like on a track.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think on this one, you're going to be on like a digital track. So it's going to be below you, and your device kind of just hovers over it and it stays on it. It's still going to be like a rail. But the thing is like what made the game very like addictive to me was like, oh, you took this picture. Oh, but you need to take a better picture next time. You get more points, you can unlock more things, but you have to do it faster, or you have to do it like
at a certain time. Like you have to get them in like a certain pose or like a position, like they're attacking or they're flying
like
or something.
Throw an apple at them and wake them up from their sleep so they can finally wake up and go. And then if you get them all in that full picture, you get the most points. You unlock the next region. You get all that stuff. We know the basics of it, but I want to know like what's the next thing they're gonna do. What makes it new? What makes it different from the old one? I mean, yeah, you can add all the new Pokemon from the previous one, or you can add new Pokemon, from the generations. But how is that going to differentiate from the old system? Like, I want to know, because remember, I don't know if you've gotten that far in the old Pokemon Snap. The most rare thing to find was Mew, and every time you tried to take a picture of him, he'd shield himself. So you had to like, I don't know, throw an apple on him, get him dizzy, and then take a picture of him when he's not in his shield bubble, and then that's how you get him. But that was also a task too, because you only have like a short window to get that picture of Mew. Yeah. And when you get that picture, you're just like, so satisfying. So like, I wonder when they're gonna drop a demo for this game, because this game comes out in May 7th of this year. Okay. Oh, sorry, April 30th.
Oh, so that's even sooner. So it's like they have less than 4 months now already, because we're at the end of January. Oh God, where'd it go?
Yeah, it's that's another big one that like at least in the first 3 to 4 months of this year is what I'm looking forward to, because I just have no idea other than what the generic purpose of the game is as to what to expect from it. But I love Pokemon Snap back when it was on the 64. Like, Pokemon's always a great series to get into. It's not like too demanding. It's like kind of like Animal Crossing.
Where it's like you can kind of like hop in and go at your own pace, like kind of move it at your leisure type thing. But it's also really chibi to where it's a nice escapism. Just exactly like Animal Crossing. It's like it's different, but it's cutesy to where it's like I could just spend hours here, Yeah,
exactly. It's about the escapism. It's about like not feeling like you are stuck at home, or like not feeling like you're in the real world. You play video games to get out of that real world, to immerse yourself in having fun, and that's the important part of these games. Right. That's what I have so far for video games. I haven't really looked at.
I don't really know Bethesda just dropped a little teaser trailer of this, and there's really no like gameplay or any other information other than this, but they basically announced that they're going to do an Indiana Jones Bethesda game.
Ooh, wait.
Yeah. So it's like
third person.
I'm excited because potential, because Bethesda does good open world games, like Skyrim.
They do really good dialogue too.
Right. So it has a lot of potential, but because there really wasn't anything released other than like it was just the music slowly like crescendoing, and then you see the whip in the hat, and then it was like, coming later this year, and it's like, I need more information. But it's like, okay, I'm slightly tarnished from Fallout 76, so it's like, I know you guys have the potential to do really good with this game, but the last one, I can't not have that in the back of my head, just saying this could be bad.
You want to hope for the best, but you have to also expect the worst just in case they don't hit the mark. Let's see. Let me read this little article. It says Lucasfilms has officially announced a new Indiana Jones game in the works at Wolfenstein developer Machine Games, with Bethesda Game Studios head Todd Howard to be the executive producer of the project. We don't know what they will actually be called, but Yeah, it's by Lucasfilm. This is an article I just looked at on Tech Radar.
Yeah,
Um,
it was
nobody.
so superficial, but it was literally like the teaserest of teaser trailers.
It's just like what, the books and the coffee on the table. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's basically it. And then they just panned over, like, once they got past the book, you saw the hat and the whip, and then you heard the music kick in, and it's like, oh,
It's just
okay.
Bethesda.
Yeah.
Let's see here. That says machine games, which is on the little old school typewriter from like the 1900s. You have the roll of Polaroid film. There's the camera. There's the hat. He picks up the hat. You have the revolver in the holster, and then there's the bullwhip. But yeah, and then you hear the whoosh. It's just pumping up music, just whoosh.
Exactly, and it's like it creates enough mystery to be like, all right, I'm intrigued, but don't pull a Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh yeah, I feel like if Bethesda is now owned by Microsoft, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So Microsoft, yeah, because I know Microsoft bought Bethesda this year, June, like literally either the end of December or the beginning of January. That's when it happened. Because I read it, I'm like, oh shit, they're gonna get work done. Because then everybody started coming out with the memes like Bethesda's now being told to put the work and finish their, projects.
They're gonna need more indie whip sound effect.
Exactly.
Get to work.
It's gonna be like, let's see here. Well, Scott Pilgrim, I got that for the Switch. It's really cool.
I need to get that on the Switch.
It's only $15 on any platform, which is fun because it's also 4-player co-op. If you guys are on the same thing. So I bought it so me and Katie can play it. We got to like the first level of it. It was like one of those like kind of like lazy days, so we were just playing it for a bit. I still remember like the music, the Anamanaguchi, because I've seen him in concert like one time, but it was a great experience with the chiptune music. The Scott Pilgrim is obviously, the video game is based off of the comic book, which is based off of video game references for like the comics, which is really cool. And it's something that is nostalgic. It's 10 years old, which is why I think it's a really good idea for them to come out with a complete edition. I think if you link it up with your Ubisoft account, you get all of this other DLC that's free that comes with it or something like that. Yeah, so it's really cool. Scott Pilgrim, it's an easy, fun beat 'em up side scroller.
Like retro side scroller that's got like cool tunes, it kind of plays on this.
To video games. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It basically, all the characters are, if you've ever, did you get to read the comics, by the way, at any chance?
I did. I don't know how far I got, because I can't remember how far I got, but I started with the movie and then I went into the mangas, and that's, and I got, I can't remember if I got to the third book.
I think it was like 4 books total.
I think I got to either like the second or the third one for sure, somewhere between there.
But it's kind of like but then like at the time when I read it, it was fun.
Yeah.
Right. And then like when I'm looking back at it now, I'm like, Scott, you're an idiot. he's like good at fighting. That's the thing.
We've evolved past this, Scott.
Yeah.
Get it together.
But that's what came out already. Another one that's coming out. Let's see here. I wasn't looking for it. Neo 2 is basically Neo, but with more stuff. Neo is more of like the Japanese style Dark Souls. So you have like the samurai clothing and all that stuff, like that whole culture. Like it's on a different coast, but it's Dark Soulsy game, but it's like Japanese
aesthetically style. Different.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is still there. You defeat enemies, you gain the souls or whatever. But if you die, your like body's there, so you have to go back and get it without all the stuff that you had on before. Kind of like Diablo, I guess. When you die in Diablo, you lose your stuff, but you have to go back and get it.
I mean, I think that would kind of be more Dark Soulsy, because you lose all your stuff until you get back, and then you get your stuff back, because once you kind of get to your soul, then you go back into your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way definitely.
Like
there's gonna be a remake
too.
of the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. I haven't seen much on it. That's coming out in March 18th. I haven't seen much on it. Just other than like a teaser. Again, everybody's throwing out these teasers, but I have the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time like series. I have it on PlayStation 2. I have it on Steam, so I know this series in and out. Fun factoid: did you know that the Prince of Persia series was what spawned off the Assassin's Creed series? Because originally in the story, the bodyguard of the prince from Prince of Persia was supposed to be his own like thing, right? And then they made him the assassin in Assassin's Creed. And
I never put those two together, but I knew that Assassin's Creed was not like a spin-off, but like those two worlds had already like intersected at some point.
some
That's
kind of thing
cool.
like that. But also, Ubisoft, I guess, likes to make references and stuff towards their own games. So
Yeah,
Prince
that's
of Persia
true.
and
That's a
Assassin's Creed.
trademark for Ubisoft.
Yeah. Let's see here. So I already covered Rise. There's a Terminator, I guess, game. There's a game called Outriders. I haven't really checked it out, but I heard it's supposed to be like a 3-player, like you drop in, drop out type of game. Um, it's like a shooter, and I get the developer is people. The game, the name of the developer is People Can Fly. That's the name of the developer, which
Indie
sounds pretty
company?
cool. I want to say yes, but they're being published by Square Enix.
Okay, that's a big
I'm taking
company.
I'm taking it with a grain of salt because it's Square Enix.
Yeah.
The game is dropping, and I don't know if this is a joke, but the game is dropping on April 1st this year. Yeah.
Trust nothing on the internet.
The demo is going to be released in February 25th, just to check it out. But Outriders kind of looks like it's a shooter. It says it's a shooter. It's going to be on Xbox One, PS4, and PS5. But it looks pretty cool. Like you guys are like, it's 3, like, I guess it reminds me of
Squads?
Destiny. It's like a squad of 3, and you guys are going against like hordes of aliens or like some monsters. Create and customize your own Outrider to choose from. Intense shooter. Let's see, a true gene hybrid. It says genre hybrid. Outriders combines brutal and bloody combat with deep role-playing game systems,
Okay.
including sprawling skill trees and endless gear modification. But it looks like it's third person, from what it looks like. But it says 4 unique classes, so I guess it's kind of like a shooter. Not Diablo. What's another like?
Like Borderlands kind of, where it's
Oh,
like they
yeah,
have
that actually
preset
sounds
like skill trees where it's like you can choose like one of like 3 or 4, but it's like they limit it to like certain, skill trees essentially.
Yeah, exactly. It just sounds pretty. It looks interesting.
It's
but I want
got
to try
potential,
Yeah.
but we need more information.
Yeah.
I think
What's Square Enix as the publisher? I'm gonna like, was it walk on eggshells? I want to say.
I think we're all just kind of like, no. Let's just wait.
Mm-mm.
Let's just see how
Yeah.
this turns out.
Yeah, we know how Cyberpunk and Marvel's Avengers came out, so we're just gonna wait on that, you know.
Yeah, I'm my sodium levels still haven't dropped from the Avengers because I was so excited about that and just the multiplayer, and then it just kind of ended up being so clunky that it was like, I got like 30 other games I want to play. I'll just go with the ones that are already like well polished and like well oiled, that I don't have to worry about such clunky mechanics, or like I'll just give you time over there to fix your shit.
Yeah, it's like it's something that we want to kind of just we're gonna wait on it. Yeah, like you said, we're gonna wait on it. We're gonna make sure we don't mess up again. We're not gonna just invest in it and then be like, oh, sorry, we messed up, guys. Here's a whole refund back for everybody.
Yeah, right.
You know?
It's like,
yeah, don't risk it. It's it's definitely gonna be something I'd want to watch. But like I said, if they're demos, I'll try the demos out, see how I like it. That's usually what goes upon for video games. That's what I would recommend. Wait for the demo, try it out. If you don't like it, don't buy it.
Either that, or if you can get into the beta and see, like, you get at least a little bit of a tester kind of, and you can be like, all right, this has potential here, so you can kind of better gauge exactly what the game is going to be instead of just going off of a little teaser trailer that doesn't show any gameplay, or like it's just all cinematic, and then you're like, wait, this isn't in the game at all. Like, what?
They totally bait and switch it right there. I hate when they do that.
I hate that so much. It's like, I appreciate good cinematics, but now with technology's development, anyone can have good cinematics. I'm sorry, like League of Legends has like killer cinematics, but that's not how the game is.
Yeah,
and it's completely different when you hop in the game. So it's like, if you're going based off of what they're presenting, which is like this really cool, elaborate cinematic, blah, you're backflipping back and forth, but then you get the game and you're like, top down, you get to view all the lanes, all your abilities are like 1, 2, 3. You're like, wait a second, this isn't anything like what you showed me.
Yeah, it's like I said, it feels like the whole bait and switch thing, and it just doesn't make the company look good if they do it that way. You know,
and it's
oh
not
man.
building a good fan base either, because you're literally starting off on the wrong foot. It's like
Yeah.
you're showing them like, oh, this is what we could be like, haha, this is what you get. It's like
Yeah.
what you order off of Amazon versus what you order off of Wish, you know?
Oh, the Wish comparison
The
memes.
Wish
Oh my god,
comparison.
those are hilarious. It kind of reminds me of like, oh,
God.
here's like the fancy department store per one, and then here's the great value version of.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh man. Oh, the other game that I was kind of like thinking of getting into is the Monster Hunter Stories 2 Wings of Ruin, which is so Monster Hunter Stories is kind of like a chibi, like fun RPG version of Monster Hunter,
Oh,
where
so it's not as like combat heavy where you have to like go and investigate and like hunt a monster kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, it's more of like where you go out and you have like a story and stuff's going on, and there's actual, I guess, plots.
Yeah,
It's
but
like
at least
it's a very
they're
detailed story.
yeah, but at least they're going kind of a different route. So it's like it's not the exact same gameplay and it's not the exact same game. It's like now you get to experience a different side of the game, which is I think is really cool, because then you really are developing a whole world and like an ethos that goes with it. So you get like different perspectives and different aspects that you can interact as, which is super cool.
It's a whole different world. It's got like I guess it's not CG, kind of like Breath of the Wild or like Wind Waker, where it's kind of cartoony.
Oh, it's got
as far
like
as
that
graphics
cell
go,
kind of look.
Yeah, so it's kind of like I want to say it's more like Pokemon. There you go. It's more animated, more anime. So you have that graphics. And it's like instead of like killing the monsters and slaying them, you get like an egg, and then you hatch the egg, and it becomes your friend, and then it's a Rathalos, and you ride it, and then you use the Rathalos to fight other monsters to help
that's cute.
Yeah,
see,
it's
that
kind of like a Pokemon.
Yeah, and see, that's like a fresh idea that's still playing off of pre-established world, but it's not just like a reskinned version of, you know, Monster Hunter, whatever, you know, variation they were going off of.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not a copy paste. And then add a 2 to it and be like, hey, or and Knuckles, and you know.
Yeah, right. Sorry, 64, we love you, but.
So yeah, that's Monster Hunter Stories. One of the other games that I know for sure that I'm looking forward to, but I'm not sure I will purchase it, because I'm just not great at following up myself on finishing these genres. It's the horror genre, which is for Resident Evil Village. That's the one it's going to be the sequel, basically, technically, because it takes place after Resident Evil 7, where you play as Ethan Winters.
That's right.
And this one has like the quote-unquote tall lady that everybody's like going gaga over, and there's all kinds of fan art about her and stuff like that.
Everyone's simping over her. I'm like, guys, it's just a trailer. Calm down. I know we've all been in quarantine, but damn. Jeez.
Like, they have so much about this person, about this game. The demo's out already. If you have a PlayStation 5, you have access to the demo already. If you don't have a PlayStation 5, the demo for the other consoles and PC, I think, will show up around February time-ish. But it does look like it's like it's first person still. It's gonna have the whole like aesthetic look. It looks like it's gonna have that Resident Evil 4 aesthetic, where you're in that like villagey type of town, and everything's like the rich people are Victorian, like wearing the dresses and like the aspects and stuff like that. I don't have any pictures of it. I just have like the the website where you just Resident Evil.
It's got kind of like the Bloodborne aesthetic, where it's like Victorian, like kind of dark and dingy, but you still have the whole horror aspect that's Resident Evil. It's
just creepy and crazy. But like I said, I have not yet to this day have yet completed an actual Resident Evil game myself.
Oh, really?
I played one, and like my cousin's, because my cousin had the PlayStation first, so I played his a little bit. Then like I died and I gave up. I was like, oh, I'm done. And then I played the Resident Evil 2 like demo, when the demo discs were a thing, when it came with the Electronic Gaming Monthly magazine.
Oh my god, that's a throwback.
That's a throwback. How old is
That's
Resident
like
Evil 2.
with the AOL disc that they sent you every month. It's like I'm pretty sure I still have like 3,000 hours of AOL somewhere in this house.
Oh, definitely. And then we have the Resident Evil 3. So those are the demos. Resident Evil 4. My friend had it on the GameCube because it was big, because it was like the first Resident Evil to be on a Nintendo system. So that's why it was so big and it sold out. And now that Resident Evil 4 is on every platform, it's like the most selling Resident Evil that's been, I think, on the third person perspective.
I think
At
so.
least for that, yeah. It's, at
Yeah.
least it's the most famous because of like Leon, and you get to play as Leon again.
Yeah.
And then you have Resident Evil 5, which came out on the Xbox and PS3. That one was like the co-op one where you get to play as Chris as Sheva.
I played through that one several times. Like, that one was really good, and I enjoyed the whole co-op aspect of it.
That's good.
Yeah, and then number 6 was the different, storylines.
The 4 different stories that intertwine.
Yeah.
Like, I saw the trailer for that, and I couldn't get excited for that because I'm just like, in my mind, I was like, another Resident Evil? Like, I guess they could keep milking the games out if they want to. That's if they can spin it. But then when Resident Evil 7 came out, and I watched a streamer just play it in VR the whole time, and I was watching it, I got scared, and I wasn't even playing the damn game. But it was really cool. The story was great. Like, it wasn't very like, oh, zombies are infecting the whole, Umbrella Corps and stuff like that. Cause it just feels like a spooky game in the beginning. In fact, the first like 75% of the game it's spooky, and then like the last of it, you start to get the notion of, oh, Umbrella's connected to somehow, and then there's like a big climactic finish, and you're just like, whoa. And at the end is references to characters, and then you have Resident Evil 8, which is, you were that guy from 7. Now you're back, and now you're doing stuff because something happens and they need you for something, or you're being hunted, or there's like snippets in here and there of the trailer of like your family's involved somehow, and you're just like, what the heck is going on? And then Chris Redfield is in the background somewhere, and you're just like, what is he doing there? Like, all these unanswered questions. And in the demo, if you get to play it, you get to just see how visually beautiful the game is. Just like how you can see the furniture, the detail of the crown molding. It's all gold and
yeah, it's like you
Victorian.
can see the different like textures that you weren't able to see in the previous games, and it's almost even more fascinating than the story, because like you go into this room and you just want to like look at everything, because you're just like, oh, there's the shadowing, there's the texture on like this table or this box or something, and it's they put in a lot of time into the details, and I think that's what's kind of making it more immersive.
Yeah, it's definitely what they want you to feel. They want you to be more immersed. They want you, because I'm like, if they're gonna use like a next gen console or like a PC, or like even like on the previous gen consoles, like they want to make sure that the next first person, if you're gonna be in first person, they want you to be able to see, like you said, all this visual enhancement that they created, all the detail inside this game.
Yeah, it's like you're seeing what they're seeing, which is like the texture, the dust, the specks of light that's flickering off the dust as you're walking in the room, like that.
The lighting in this game.
Yeah.
Woo.
Like the ambient lighting, that makes a huge difference, and that can really set the tone, especially if you're trying to do a good horror game.
Oh yeah,
that is critical.
So they went away from the way of just like, oh, we're just gonna shoot some zombos and survive. Or
Yeah, they just come running at you. You just gotta lay into them, or get past this one big baddie that's huge with a chainsaw. They actually kind of reincorporated like the horror kind of mystery aspect, where you don't necessarily understand what's happening.
Oh yeah.
Until like you're already in the game and you're just like, oh shit, that's what that was. And it's like you as the player are figuring it out, and they're not just like, okay, here's the baddie you gotta fight.
Exactly. Yeah, that's like a big thing that came out, and I'm just like, wow, they've actually, I feel like they've upped their game from the last game. That's what it looks like, so I hope those who do get the game do enjoy it, because I enjoy watching people play it. I also like watching the reactions of like getting spooked and freaked out and jump scared and all that stuff, because that is hilarious.
I might have to get it. It looks pretty good, and you know me, I love spooky horror games, so that might be up my alley.
So you've played 7, right?
No, actually, you know what? I thought it was 7, but I've played 5 and 6.
Okay, so I was gonna say, because 7 is where it starts with Ethan Winters as a protagonist. I definitely highly recommend. Start with 7, play 7. I would stream the hell out of 7 if I were you, because that's a spooky game for you. Like, you should play it. Okay. And then and also the lore is going to connect to 8 with 7 8.
It's going to flow better into the next one, because it's going to be like a fresh playthrough, and it's going to be fresh in your mind when the new one comes out. So then it it might be easier to connect the dots or be like, oh wait, that was this character from the last one because I just played it a day ago.
Exactly. Yeah. It's, oh man, but yeah, that's as far as video games, that's all I can think of off the top of my head that I'm like waiting to like happen.
That's like what you're looking forward to.
Yeah, I know there's all these other games out there, and it's like people are like, "Yeah, this is coming out, this is coming out." I'm like, "That's cool. I'm happy for you." I don't feel that energy right now. Maybe if I get a demo going, maybe I can try it and see if I like it. You know, it just depends on every different game.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on Overwatch 2 because I went to BlizzCon last year and they had us do the test for Overwatch 2 and it was super cool, but now it's like, I mean, I know there's a pandemic, but it's already been like over a year and there hasn't really been any updates on it, and it's like, is there gonna be any updates on this? Because I mean, it was a really cool concept, and especially expanding on the Overwatch universe, but it's like there's been no news, no development, no nothing, and it's like, what? Where?
Yeah,
is this game coming out still? Like,
that was supposed to be the campaign, right? Or like the campaign style, like
it was supposed to be kind of more like story RPG. So instead of Overwatch where it's like you pick your champion and then, you know, every match you can change it, they actually go more into like the story of Overwatch, like how they became, how they assembled, you know, and then how, like, you know, the Omnicons kind of came in and destroyed everything. So it's
the whole iRobot Rise of the Machines story.
Yeah. So they went more like story heavy with this one, but I mean, it's been already over a year with no updates. It's like, come on.
Yeah, did you also hear about how they acquired, or what was it? It was Blizzard.
Blizzard acquired something recently, and I can't...
Activision or something like that. They bought Activision. Blizzard absorbs Activision Studio after dismantling Classic Games team. That's right. And I saw that title and I was like, what?
Well, I mean, we kind of knew that this was coming because we saw all the like Call of Duty games starting to convert over into Battle.net.
Yeah.
So it's like we kind of saw it coming, but I mean, it'll be interesting, but I think it actually might make Activision better.
yeah, because I'm just thinking like, okay, so why do I need an Activision account if I'm using my Battle.net account? Like, you know, but I guess it's just a way to connect to my friends who are on PlayStation and Xbox, and that kind of makes sense. But then I'm thinking,
right,
why does Activision feel like they're lacking in quality, whereas Blizzard seems to be bringing up their quality in their games? I just let's see
they're pulling a Microsoft where it's like, all right, Activision, we gotta get to work now. It's like,
oh, I think that also means that. Hold on, I saw something about Battlefronts.
Star Wars the Star Wars Battlefronts are coming to Blizzard because they're Activision owned.
Well, because hold on, the DICE developed it. Let's see here, Motive Studios. Yeah, no, because Battlefront is made by EA. Somebody did something with EA.
It's weird, but like I feel like a lot of companies, game producing companies, recently got absorbed into even bigger companies.
Oh, here we go. It's the reforming of Lucasfilm Games as a licensing brand rather than a game publisher. Like Star Wars games will no longer be produced by EA exclusively. That's what it is. EA no longer has exclusive rights to Star Wars games.
Okay.
That's what it was. So that means we can have good developers like, okay, who makes a really good RPG? Who makes a really good action game? Oh, fucking Crystal Dynamics. They can do another action story style Star Wars game. You know, kind of like Fallen Order, except without all the bugs.
Who you can even go like RPG heavy too, and go with something like what is it?
Knights of the Old Republic.
Or I was thinking more like game companies like Project Red or yeah.
Let's see, so then you can have Project Red work on a Star Wars game and actually, you know, have really good dialogue, storyline, action, something that's not locked behind a freaking paywall like sometimes EA's been doing.
Or even go kind of more gamey or kind of like Clone Wars type visuals and do something with Gearbox, you know?
Oh yeah, you can have your whole like Borderlands style like clone troopers and your whole clone squad versus
you could do like the whole Clone Wars in that kind of style game, but still make it feel RPG where it's like you can kind of customize your main character that you're playing.
Ooh, you know, it'd be a cool thing. It would be, I just thrown it out there. If CD Projekt Red, because you know how they do like the dark, like the lone, like protagonist kind of game. What if they did a Mandalorian video game in
Oh,
their
get out.
style?
That'd be
Yeah,
great.
right.
That'd be so good.
The only thing that I would have to think of is like, okay, can they did like planets? They do land really good. Like they can do worlds good, but can they do space good? Because space is also a big part of the Mandalorian, right? The Razor Crest and traveling. So I don't want it to just be, oh, I'm gonna fast travel to this other planet.
They could literally build a whole universe, like the solar system, that like you go to different planets to have different jobs, you know?
Yeah.
Oh.
And they could probably bring back like an MMO. Somebody could bring back an MMO for Star Wars and actually make it really good.
I would absolutely get into that, where it's like you explore more of like the Mandalorian like culture and like race through being a Mando and like coming up as like a foundling or something like that.
Yeah.
Just go that way.
Have you ever played Star Wars Galaxies? Or ever like heard of or thought of Star Wars Galaxies? It was basically the Star Wars MMO before the Old Republic was an MMO. It's old. Yeah. It's like 2003 old. That's when the initial release date. And then I guess it was there until 2005. It didn't do great because it was expensive. It was like a monthly thing, but it's people. The thing is, it wasn't good because it didn't feel finished. It wasn't like WoW where it was finished. It was more of like, oh, there's still bugs, there's not much to do, you level up your character,
it's
nobody
still
can be a
chunky
Jedi,
and like the mechanics or something.
Oh yeah, and the world looked tacky and flat, and it just didn't look really like, it didn't look like there was love put into it, I want to say.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like.
Versus Favreau and Kevin Feige just completely taking over and saving the Star Wars universe. It's like, all right, hard carry, let's go.
Oh my gosh, yes. Dave Filoni, man, because he did his work on all that work he did on Clone Wars and Rebels, and he brought it into the Mandalorian world, the universe. It's just
one of the big things is that like they actually got people that care about these stories and that they themselves are nerds and fans of, and then once they actually kind of get in the driver's seat of like, all right, let's see where you go with this character, they take so much more care with the character and like how they present it and which stories they choose to present too, because they're fans and they're already invested in these characters and these worlds themselves. So it's like they don't want to let themselves down, almost.
No, they definitely want to make sure that they put their heart into it and that everybody puts their heart into it, and that they understand, because nerds understand nerds. They know what nerds want and they know how to make it good, plus they have the experience of in the industry of knowing what they want to do versus and how to do it.
Yes, and how to do it. They have that point of reference where it's like they have the skill, or if they maybe don't necessarily have that exact skill, they know somebody who knows how to do it.
Exactly. They talk amongst other nerds to figure out, hey, would you be interested in all this stuff? That's why Bryce Dallas Howard can direct those episodes and make them really good.
Yes, I loved how she did the fight scenes with Cara Dune.
Oh yes.
Oh my god. Really and I don't think it would have been done as well if it was some other, no offense, a man director, because she comes from that perspective, so she knows how to tailor it and just get it just right.
Yeah. Yeah, you have the choreographers, you have these actors, or not these actors, these directors have done, I've done action films, you shoot that guy, he goes down below. It's just, it didn't feel like it would flow unless like Bryce Dallas Howard did it herself, because she knows what she wants. She knows how a person like a woman would function. She knows exactly how a woman would feel. A woman who's a fighter is relentless. They don't hold back. They don't slip and fall. They are precise and deadly, and that's why they are who they are.
And it worked so well for Mandalorian, because that's basically what their culture is about. It's like they are trained warriors, and so kind of already having that mindset and knowing how to film that correctly was just so chef kiss.
Yes, definitely. So good. And that's the thing, like they direct it really well, man. And that's just what I hope for the future of Star Wars games. Like I want the Star Wars games done by anybody to do a great job on them, and take your time. I don't care if it comes out in 5 years. I want it to be polished and great. Granted, you might have another generation of consoles in 5 years, but hey, as long as it's fun, if it's a fun, well done story
Mm-hmm.
and a fun, well done game, and it doesn't kill the playing experience, because that's what we're here for. For video games, we're here to play the video games. We want to be able to play through them.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to update and register for another account and then upgrade and then like load and then crash and then verify my cache files,
Yeah.
just
If
let
the
me
story's
play
good
them.
enough, you'll
Hmm.
replay that game over and over again, or you'll buy it on another console or platform,
Yeah.
because the story is that good. And when it connects to certain, players, th-
Hmm.
they would be like a fan for life,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's that's what that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much potential, and especially with like how technology is evolving, I think so fast too,
Hmm.
especially with like, I think a lot more people now, because of the pandemic, are getting into PC gaming, and
Hmm.
they're realizing that like PC gaming is, I don't want to say next generation, but obviously it's a step up from console gaming, because
Hmm.
with consoles it's, super limited. They have to work with whatever parts that they're given, but with PC it's
Yeah.
like it's almost limitless, and it's only, limitation is your own limitation that you put on it, which, whether it
Yeah.
be like budget or, space, or it can't fit in the tower or whatever.
Exactly. What you put into the PC is what you get out of it. You
Yes,
put a lot of,
exactly.
you put the power into it, you're going to get power out of it. You want speed, you get speed. A console, I feel like, is just, it's a it's a quick solution to be able to have you say, hey, I want to kind of have an idea what it's like to be as powerful as a PC, but I don't have that much money.
That's a good way of putting
So
it.
so we're gonna make this console for you so you guys can play it at home, still experience what the PC players can experience, but just not at a more customizable level. Because on a PC you can modify and you can add and you can, all these mods and texture mappings and all this stuff you can do to any program. You just got to find the right mods or mod them yourself if you're a programmer. It's limit, like you said, it's limitless. What the only limit is what we give ourselves, basically. Um, but yeah, that's kind of like how I feel about consoles. Like, I liked consoles because it was convenient, it was easy. It's like, oh, I want to be
Yeah.
able to just, instead of having to load up my PC and log in and do all this stuff, I want to just put in a disc or just hit the play button and then pick up where I left off. And that's what the new PS5 and anything Xbox has. They're not auto save, but I forgot what it was called. Quick save.
Quick saves, like auto quick saves kind of thing.
Like, you literally boot up your um it's like a save system. You automatically you boot up your console, and then like in seconds it's up in like 2 seconds, and then you
Does
hit
it go to a cloud, or is it hard disk space?
I think it's, well, if it's doing the not super save, is it super save, smart delivery,
or smart save?
Something like that.
Yeah.
So then you can like smart save or quick save up to, I think, 7 games at a time, and it'll be like, so like, let's say I'll be playing Overwatch, right? And then like I'm just gonna go to the menu real quick, and then I'm gonna like, I tap the home button, and then I switch over to like Marvel's Avengers, and I'm in the middle of a campaign, but then I tap over to another game. But if I tap back to Overwatch, I'll be in the main menu. But if I tap back to Marvel's Avengers, it'll put me back in the middle of that, like right where I left off. There's no loading, nothing. You're just right there where your character was just kind of just standing in the middle of the game.
They just gave it better RAM, so
Yeah.
it's like you can instantly access where you like left off.
Super fast the RAM, like amazing. I think it was like, oh, I need to look up that feature, man. Now
Yeah, look up the feature, and also like what's the RAM? What number RAM do we got on there? Because we're gonna wait on getting the PS5 for at least a while. Because first of all, it feels like the PlayStation 4 just came out.
Even though I think it came out 2016.
It's already been like 4 years. I mean, technically we're kind of in our 5th year, but I feel like the system is still super new, to where it's like we really don't need another like updated console because we have our PCs,
Exactly.
So it's like we can hold out with the PlayStation 4 for a while, because I mean, I still use my PlayStation 3 in the bedroom, so it's not like it's a bad system, it's just now unfortunately out of date, And with Sony, they do this thing where it's like, we're not going to do any more patches on the old system. So
Yeah,
it's
no more
like,
support for you. You're old. It's like,
yeah,
wow,
no more
wow.
support for you. You're on the
Is
way
that
out. It's
how you
like,
treat your elders?
back in my day, we kept our consoles until they died. Listen, you saw my original Nintendo 64 and Super NES. It still works.
Yeah, it still works. That's the good part.
It still works.
So the memory they have on the Xbox Series X is 16 gigabytes, but it's GDDR6.
What the what?
Yeah, it's huge. So the
That's
memory
like
bandwidth
next
you can do 10 gigabytes at 560 gigabytes per second, or 6 gigabytes at 336 gigabytes per second. It comes with a 1 terabyte of the NVMe SSD, so that's the faster one that we have so far. There's expendable storage. You can put support for like a terabyte Seagate expansion. You can have a
expandable storage. I think is important.
storage.
Yeah, because with the PlayStation,
every game.
Yeah, you have to
like,
download it anyways.
Yeah.
And then if you have PlayStation Plus, it's like you get free games every month that literally, if you just download it into your library, you now have it for free forever.
Exactly.
And it's like you just need the memory space. So having like at least a terabyte of space as like the standard, I think is key.
I think the thing that I'm still kind of like worked about is like, because at PlayStation 3 you don't have to pay for online gaming,
right?
But like Xbox you did, but now everyone's on the whole online gaming, you got to pay for it kind of service, and I'm just like, okay, that makes sense. Now,
but at least they have the thing where it's like you pay once a year and it's only like $60 or something, so it's not too bad. But I really like PlayStation Plus because they give you like at least 2 free games a month and they rotate it out, so it's like you're getting 24 free games. I mean, even if you don't necessarily play them, you still have them, and who knows, at some point down the line you may want to play it, you know? Or it's actually a good game that they just put for free for this month. Like I think there's Uncharted, like, you know, and then like the whole Tomb Raider series and stuff like that. I'm like, well shit, I didn't have to pay $60 for it when I first came out. Like, damn.
Right? But you had to wait like what, 4 or 5 years to have that.
Yeah, but I mean, I got time.
Like for me, when like Borderlands came out, I'm like, I don't need to play Borderlands, it's cell shaded, whatever, right? And then Borderlands 2 came out, I'm like, oh, I'll buy it, I'll play it because it looks better, and then the story was amazing, right? And then so I bought that when it first came out on PC, I believe, and then like years later it was free on PC, and I was like, I know it was free on PlayStation Plus because it was PlayStation Plus. I'm like, where was this? And it's a Handsome collection. Like I don't even have
the Handsome Jack collection, and which included the pre-sequel too.
Exactly. And so I'm just like, wow. So now all that money I spent, but then I guess that's cool that the money you spent goes towards them making better games later on, you know? So
it's almost like you're investing in the company and not necessarily the game, because it's, you know, it's weird.
Oh, I mean, I don't have a next-gen console, but I guess like the exclusives would be the reason why I usually stay with PlayStation. I used to do Xbox because of like, the Halo, but then after like 3 Halos, I was kind of over it.
It's like the same thing. Yeah. It's just recycled, reskinned, you know.
Yeah, but for me, like, I would get a PS5 one because of the Spider-Man Miles Morales exclusive. The Horizon 2 Forbidden West game is coming out. So if you ever played Horizon Zero Dawn, the first one on PlayStation, which is a PlayStation exclusive, I definitely am wanting to get 2. But if 2 is only on the PS5, then I'll just wait. Yeah. But it's just really, like, Aloy is a good protagonist. She reminds me of Merida from Brave. She has really good spirit and she's strong-willed. So she has that whole like can-do attitude where she's supposed to be in a society where in the first one, like, they just look down upon her because she's like different than the normal people around her, but she overcomes it and stuff like that. It's really,
I think we just recently got it for free on one of the PlayStation Pluses, like within the last couple months. So
yeah,
I can.
It came with the wilds, the Frostwood Wilds or something like that. It came with its DLC too. Like you got everything.
Yeah. And so it's like you don't have to pay the additional, you know, whatever they're charging for additional DLC, which is like maybe $15 or $13 or something every time you want like an additional storyline that's maybe 10 hours. I mean,
but it adds, like I said, the DLC does add to it, but I feel like the DLC should have been with the main game, but maybe it was an afterthought or they didn't finish in time.
Right.
I just don't, but I wouldn't want to have to like buy it all over again, you know. The only exception that I've ever done that for was Monster Hunter Rise or Monster Hunter World, Iceborne.
Yeah.
Because Iceborne came out and it's like, oh, it's $40, and people are like, oh, it's $40, but it's just DLC. And then I looked at the details and I watched the showcase and I read up on it. I did my homework basically. I didn't just think, oh, it's stupid. It's just DLC. They're overcharging.
It's so much more than DLC, though.
It's a whole nother story. It's basically an expansion. It's like, well, that's what it is for WoW. You buy a whole nother expansion, but you're paying full price for it. But you get to play the whole thing, you know? But it didn't even feel like it was a DLC. It really felt like it was a whole nother game because there was new mechanics involved, new monsters, a whole like storyline that evolved from it. Like it felt really good. Like I was happy that I did that. Like that's one of the things about the games. Like, are you happy with your purchase? I'd say yes.
Yeah.
But let's see here. For the only downside to getting a PS5 is the storage is 825 gigabytes because I think the rest of it is going to operating the system, whereas in the Xbox you have that 1 terabyte to work with. The resolution is the same, the frame rate's the same. They both play.
What about external hard drives on the PlayStation 5? Is that as easy to do as the Xbox One?
Let me check.
Just because we're a split household right now.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not bad to have multiple different types of consoles for different purposes. That makes sense. They both cost $500 a piece. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see, we have Xbox Series X. Oh yeah, Spider-Man Miles Morales is another. Yeah, I already said that. Exclusive.
That's the exclusive. Yeah.
And the Horizon Zero Dawn. Let's see, performance-wise, design, controllers. I feel like all the controllers are just melding together. They're just moving stuff around to make it look different.
Yeah.
Personally, backwards compatibility.
Oh, that was another big thing is the backwards compatibility.
Both PS5 and Xbox Series X have excellent backwards compatibility features, but there's no denying that the Xbox reaches further back into its Microsoft library. Not only does the Xbox Series X compatible with just about every Xbox One game, but it's also compatible with many Xbox 360 and original Xbox games, when it doesn't include every slab of Microsoft's ever taken. So I'm reading this article from Tom's Guide, tomsguide.com. It's like Tom's like a tech guide.
I know Tom's Guide. He's
going PC part
on my tab right now.
Yeah, that's good to have. They're all gonna have cloud gaming, so it's all the same there. I think the difference is I think their games are gonna be $20 more, like $70 for a game for both, like either console, compared to like PS4 and Xbox One X.
Yeah,
or Xbox One. Yeah.
But I wonder if like eventually they. Well, I mean, I guess depending on how sales go this year, they may adjust that and drop that back down to where it's 60, so then it's consistent throughout, the 4 and the 5.
PS5, let's see, external storage. Now, I don't remember if I was paying attention.
Because I think you can do an external hard drive for the PS4. It just has to be a certain type.
Yeah, it's specific types of
hard drives.
SSDs, hard drives that they only cover.
Right.
Let's see, extended. So the PS5 extended storage requirements. It has to be a super speed USB 5 gigabytes or later. 250 gigabyte minimum, 8 terabyte maximum capacity. Not all devices are guaranteed to work with the PS5. An extended storage drive cannot be used through the USB hub, and then 2 more extended storage drives cannot be connected at the same time. So there's a limit apparently.
I mean, I think that's weird that they put a limitation on it when they're already limiting the storage space to begin with. It's like, you know that each game coming out is going to be like 60 plus gigs, you know? Because, I mean, look at some of the PS4 games. It's like what was it? Oh, God. It was like 100, it was almost like 100 gigs, size game. It was like one of the Call of Booties or something like that.
Oh yeah, Call of Duty Warzone is 100 gigs on its own, just on its own.
And it's like, gigs. That's one game, and now moving forward with all these like updated graphics and like everything becoming more detailed, each game is gonna be more,
massive.
Yes, and it's gonna take up more space.
Before the updates, and then there's going to be updates and DLC
patches.
Patches.
I mean, all these companies are depending on like extra DLC and extra patches to hotfix problems that they run into as they're releasing the game. But then it's like you're limiting them by having this limited amount of space, and then only saying, oh, you can only have 2 external hard drives if you want to get outside of 800 gigs. Okay. If we're going 100 gigs, it's like that's only 8 games.
Yeah.
That's 8 games.
Why am I spending the same amount of money on this console if I need to store more, then I could just go buy the other game and store more on that one, or buy the other console and store more on that one.
Exactly. And
It's kind of a shot in the foot, but it's just yeah, you can format them. USB drives that were used as extended storage on your PS4 do not need to be formatted, so you can do that. So if you're using one on your PS4, you just connect it to your PS5, boom, you're good. So they make it easy, but then they don't make it easy.
They don't make it easy because that's not necessarily common knowledge, because if you're buying a console, more than likely you're not going to be that tech savvy to know it's like, hey, I need an external hard drive to make sure that I have enough space for all my games that I want to play. Unless you're already
a PC.
Yes, thank you.
At that point, it becomes a PC.
At that point,
like, if you have to buy more parts for your console, it becomes a PC.
Oh my god, that's what they're doing.
They're making consoles into PC players, and so that way they don't have to make any more consoles, and everybody's gonna go to PC.
Everybody's just on PC. Welcome to the master race, finally.
They're slowly getting. Yeah, they're slowly getting.
They're slowly getting there, and then I think if this, depending on how long this pandemic goes, I think that more and more people are gonna figure that out, because even just like more casual gamers, or even people who are just now starting to get into like streaming, they're realizing like, oh, my laptop isn't able to handle this.
My
like,
Chromebook can't do this. Well,
yeah, like it's like, oh, I want to start building my own PC. It's like, how much does that cost? I'm like, grrr, this is a long conversation.
Oh yeah, how much time you got?
Yeah, right. It's like, so here's a glossary so you can start looking up footnotes when I start talking.
Right. It's just so much. The cool thing, and then I can't stress this enough, the cool thing about being a PC maker now, like making a PC these days,
or being able to build one yourself.
Being able to build one is literally easy to build one yourself than it was 10 years ago, where you had to get the right parts and be compatible, and then you have to send the motherboard back because it wasn't compatible with the things you bought in the RAM. And nowadays
now you can just like cross-reference everything. Exactly. And it's like, when I feel like once you cross that threshold into like PC gaming, you're already looking at things in a more kind of like technological like standpoint, where it's like, okay, I want to upgrade how fast I open up my programs, or like I need to update my graphics card kind of thing. You're already thinking like, okay, is that going to work with my current motherboard? Is this the correct thing, or do I have to upgrade that? It's like you're already kind of in that like hamster wheel.
Yeah. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest here. When I first started by building a PC, I literally didn't know what I was doing. So I asked my friend, hey, my friend who was like a computer science like major, he knew how to build and take apart PCs, mix stuff together back and forth, swap everything out, and then know the right stuff to buy. And be like, hey, I want to build a PC. What do I need? And he goes, what are you gonna use it for? Gaming, you can do processing. Like, you need to know what you're going to use your stuff for. That's why they have consoles. If you just want to play video games, that's what the console's for.
Yeah, it's like an easy compact package. Like, I guess a good way to kind of explain it would be in terms of like cooking. It's like you get like the Hello Fresh, where it's like they provide all your ingredients for you if you want to make a meal, versus you have a cookbook and you want to make something specific, so then you have to go and get those individual ingredients, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, it's just the whole, I guess, like you said, how do you make the cuisine? Like, here's all the steps to make the cuisine. Oh, okay, but it's like how to do it right. I made sure that my friend walked me through how doing it right. I mean, he gave me some tips. This is before YouTube was big, like in 2010, right?
Yeah. It was before you could literally just YouTube anything, like how do I make blah blah blah, the school of YouTube.
Exactly. YouTube is now the school of everything, because everyone's like, you know what? I wasn't taught this when I was a kid, or I wasn't taught this when I was like doing this, and I learned it, and I learned the proper ways of doing it. So here's a video on how you can do it without messing up. Like,
and simple. You literally have like a whole list show up of like 10, 20 videos of showing how to do the exact same thing, almost 20 different ways.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like you can pick and choose like how you want to do it too.
Yes, the internet is like the greatest thing now that we've ever created. It makes everything easier. It makes information accessing super convenient.
24/7, but at the same time, it's like now we kind of have to like know when to stop ourselves, because it really is a rabbit hole, because you could just start going da, 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 and be there for hours, and you're like, why the fuck is it 4 a.m. and I'm still looking up how to make, tahini cookies or something? Like, just, it literally is a rabbit hole, but it is a wealth of information because it's a place where everybody can share their own personal experiences, and you can go there and kind of like a buffet, pick and choose what you want to absorb or what you kind of want to adapt into your own like personal how you want to do whatever XYZ kind of task.
Yeah, it's like how you want to adapt or absorb that information and transfer it into your own abilities, but you also got to be wary that what you're taking with you doesn't conflict with something else that you read or looked about, or if it does, like why does it conflict? What parts are you using versus what parts you shouldn't be using versus why isn't it working in the first place?
It's like you got to use critical thinking to start kind of like realizing like, okay, this is just one piece of information, let's see what somebody else has to say, and then take that in and be like, all right, well, let's kind of take the best of both worlds because my situation doesn't necessarily fit the two, so it's, and then in that itself is creating a third option. So then if you then go on the internet and share that third option, that then kind of like snowballs, into x amount of different variations,
all of that stuff.
Oh man,
it's crazy with that. But
technology has developed so much just in our lifetime, Kenji.
That's what, let's see, it's from 2010 to 2020, the amount of technology and the convenience and ease of use of technology has increased, I want to say like 200 to 500% just because of the
significantly, because 2020 I think was the year that proved we could do anything we want online.
Oh yeah, you keep us stuck in our house because of quarantine and because of disease, we're going to figure out a way to be able to do all this online, and that way anybody else can do it online. So 2020 was the year that said, fuck it, we'll do it ourselves.
Yeah.
That's the year. That's the fuck it, we'll do it ourselves year.
Yeah, and I feel like in a lot of ways that's empowered a lot of people, which is great because I feel like a lot of,
we're kind of getting lazy? I don't know.
No, I feel like, if you have something to say, then you should put that forward and then own that as like your own voice, kind of thing. So it's like, it's also, I feel, empowered a lot of people that may not necessarily have had the courage to do it unless this big catastrophe happened where they were forced to do it.
I see. Yeah. That's totally on the dot right there. Yeah.
Well, let's stray from video games because we only got like 30 minutes. Let's.
Oh shoot!
I know.
Time flies, man. Time
Seriously.
just zooms by. I don't even notice.
But so I did want to touch real fast. So kind of segmenting back into technology. What's kind of like your big plan for this year in terms of like your Twitch channel or like what you want to accomplish in terms of either like video games or like more personal kind of thing? Like what's kind of like a big motivator, a big goal that you're kind of working towards that you want to accomplish this year?
Oh, I think what I want to do this year for my Twitch channel is I want to definitely like clear out my backlog of games that I haven't completed or haven't cleared or haven't done anything with yet, but I bought them because they're on Steam sale, or there was it was an exclusive
Steam sale for like 88 cents.
Get this for free on PlayStation because it's there, and I'm like, well, I haven't played this yet. I'll download it, and then I haven't touched it, and I'm just like, I'm gonna try to not be like stuck on like one game all the time too much. I would kind of like, because I like different kinds of games and different kinds of styles. And just complete that. That's one thing that I want to just get my thing on. I want to also try to improve on like my GUI design. I don't know. I kind of like. I have like an idea of how I want my layouts to be, and I just haven't had like the time. Let's just say, let me rephrase this. I haven't taken the time to practice with it or mess with it, and that's the thing that I want to focus on too. I want to focus on taking some time, maybe take like a day, and then like kind of sketch like my idea of what I want my layout to be or what sounds I want to be, because I don't really have like a theme. I just kind of put like, I drew a crystal on there with wings on it because I don't know. I like the I like wings as an idea to like uplifting.
Well, I was gonna say the crystal is a reference to what game? It's not coming to me right now.
Usually I just have it kind of referencing as like Final Fantasy in general, because there's always some kind of like crystal that the heroes have to find, and they have to like use the crystal of light. I want to say it's like a crystal of light. So they have to find the crystal of light, and they have to banish evil with it, and it's kind of like a generic like thing for it, like the light crystal always banishing the dark crystal. I'm always playing like video games where the heroes always trying to like stop the bad thing, and I like that. Like that's like I like that whole concept of the hero aspect of things.
Good
Um,
triumphs over evil.
exactly,
Yep,
the whole thing.
I'm there too. But yeah, so maybe kind of like delving deeper into learning how to do like your own digital design or like digital art kind of thing.
Yeah. It actually is, yeah, because I don't have like a tablet and stuff. Because I like to draw, but I just don't have, unless I borrow like my friend's printer or something. Like maybe I could scan it onto the computer and then just.
Well, that's what I do for like all my emotes, because I'm a traditional artist where it's like I have to draw it with my own hand on a piece of paper, because digitally the draw tablet that I have right now isn't a window, and it doesn't respond to like what I draw because the image is on here and the tablet's down here, and I'm like I can't do that disconnect.
If you can't see it
yep,
as you're drawing it,
and that's how I've been trained.
You have to keep doing this. Like, is this how it looks? Like,
yeah, and it drives me nuts. So basically what I figured is like, F it, I'll just draw it hard copy, so I have my whole like art book of all my different emotes, and then I scan it in, and then on the digital, once it's
you add the coloring and the darkening of the lines and all that good stuff.
I can then use like the mouse and like, well, I still use a mouse to do like the different designs and like to try and get the line work just right, because that disconnect is real fucking me up. But it's like I've played enough PC games to where I have real decent dexterity with like my mouse and keyboard to where I can just kind of like follow the lines a little bit. I just kind of have to pace myself.
Wait, are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
See, it's easy for you to like draw when you're right-handed. So this is my right hand, right, holding my mouse.
Yeah.
Now my mouse, I am actually a natural like left-handed drawing person.
Oh.
But I can't do it with the mouse because there's don't have the practice. There's no practice with it.
Well, and then
so
also,
I'd have to draw it.
Yeah, most of the mouses that are out are for right hands only, because you have the hotkeys over by your thumb. If your thumb's over on the left hand, it's on the other side of the mouse.
Exactly. So my friend Alan, back in junior college, he gave me this mouse. It's a Razer Diamondback 3G. It's like from 2007, but it's the only mouse that I've seen that I like. That it's the same. It's the same both sides.
It's same for both sides.
It's ambidextrous. There you go. It's an ambidextrous mouse.
Nice.
It's good for righties and lefties, like the ZF1 from Fifth Element.
Sweet. Yeah, that would definitely, I think, help with like kind of digital design. But again, if you're more comfortable like drawing and sketching things out on like a hard copy, definitely go that way, and then scan it in, and then I know you're good at gaming, so you could definitely kind of figure out like how to like start working.
Yeah, like I did definitely have more control. I feel like I like doing the pencil because I have more control over it.
And then also the pressure too, because you can change like the sensitivity. As if you need a harder line, you can push harder, but on the tablet it's like unless you got the sensitivity just right, and you're like
or you gotta tap the damn pen to change the thickness to the right thickness, and then if that's not the right one, you have to keep tapping it again to change the settings. I don't know. Some people, I don't know. I'm just assuming that's how digital pens work.
It's a whole nother beast. I mean, it's literally like going from like console to PC, and you're like, what have I done? What have I done?
You okay there? You catching a cold? Do you need a blinky?
No, I'm just choking on my own spit.
You're so excited about your speaking.
About drawing and things.
Passionate. There you go. That's what it is. Passionate. Passionate about
it's like you can probably watch a couple of YouTube videos and then kind of familiarize yourself with like, all right, I want to learn how to do more video editing, or I want to learn how to use this type of program.
That's what I want to do too. I want to make my like a trailer for my channel, because I have Vegas Pro and I've been working on something, but it's not like great. It feels I'm looking at it and I rewatch it over and over again. I'm like, damn, this feels like a really amateur video. So I go up, sometimes I go on YouTube and I look up videos like how to add things with Vegas Pro. Like, what are effects? What are cool effects to make this effect? And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Oh, I'm tired. I'll do that later. I just put it off because I'm a lazy ass. I'm like, what is
just start like a to-do list of like, things that you want to get done. And then even if it's not necessarily like, all right, I'm going to accomplish this by March, or kind of give yourself maybe like a month or like 2 months or something, so then that way it's like you have a little bit of play, but then as time goes on, it's like you're gonna start to feel that pressure. It's like, oh, I should probably start learning this. Because
I'm like, I don't really have the excuse of like, oh, I'm taking online classes, because I'm not really doing heavy online classes. I'm doing like light ones, I'm doing like generic ones, I'm doing like one class a semester, the slow way, but I'm still making sure I'm getting the right ones done, doing a little bit extra credit here and there. It's just like I'm in a winter session right now, and like the class I'm doing is natural sciences, where we get to just they give us a topic of like outer space and how do we get out of outer space, and here's examples of what we did as humans to get into outer space and land on the moon. All right, now next week you're gonna watch Space Odyssey, and I'm gonna ask you some questions. You're gonna answer those questions on Space Odyssey, like could intelligent life become sentient and stuff like that. Like it's very sci-fi and natural science-y, because they have explanations of how like the what's that movie that I just watched? Oh, Blade Runner, like the replicant stuff, how they were engineered to be like real people, but they're not real people, but they're engineered to be just like us.
Yeah.
But there's missing, like, can they ever be real people like us? And I'm like, no, because they don't have that long to live. I mean, a lot of people sometimes, and sadly, there are people like that in real life, but they don't have the growing up areas.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, I just got a big crack of thunder right now, and I'm like, did something hit the house?
See, I feel like we were supposed to get thunderstorms around 2, so I think they're a little late.
They are late. We were supposed to get thunderstorms like earlier this afternoon.
Is it gonna be like
I can tell because the
she's behind the curtain. Let's go to kitty cam. Her ears are up. Her ears are up.
Yeah.
I want to see that. I want to see. Let's go to kitty cam.
Okay. Oh, I gotta go back to.
She's alert. She's kind of like, because I remember she was like on the right side of that little curtain.
Yeah, she was on the inside of it. Well, she's a little derp because I don't know why she likes to sleep on the other side of the curtain instead of the window side. But yeah, she was like dead asleep a second ago, and then there was a big crack of thunder, and she's like, there's something going on.
Oh, I don't know if you were awake that one night where the lightning kind of just flashed, and it lights up everything, and then all of a sudden, and I was like, and I heard it through my headphones, I'm like, was that? And I heard it, and then all of a sudden, like a few moments later, whoosh, it was like a monsoon of rain just all over my outside. I'm like, holy crap!
It was
that's cool.
Hysterical, because I gotta tell you this story. So when that happened, because I think there was like maybe 2 big like cracks of thunder that happened almost like simultaneously. So I went to it was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. It was like really early in the morning. I went to the bathroom, and then when as I was coming back, the big thunder dropped, and I'm like, oh shit, that like rocked the house, that like shook the windows and stuff, and I'm like, I'm gonna get back in bed. And then I like hustled back into bed, and then when the second one dropped, the cat ran in the bedroom and hopped up on the bed like, Ma, there's shit going down. Thunder buddy, I'm sleeping here now.
Oh,
and she slept on the bed. But it was so funny because I got spooked by the first one, and then she got spooked by the second one.
Oh, poor kitty. That's cool. I mean, not that it's cool that the cat got scared, obviously, but it's cool that that's a story that you can have. Like, hey, my cat
adorable. She's a little derp, except when she gets scared, then she's like, Ma, I'm sleeping on your feet. Sorry.
Oh man, it's funny what a little bit of thunder can do to motivate animals to know that, hey, I'm safe with this, and people be like, hey, I'm safe with this person, I'm safe with this other person. I'm safe with human, must stay with human.
Yeah.
Human will protect me.
Meanwhile, Odin's son is just like, he doesn't hear shit. He's completely asleep, does not like wake up at all, and I'm just like laying there in bed with the cat. We're both just like looking at each other like, I'm gonna turn on the TV. Meow.
If I was like if I was asleep, I'm pretty sure, because I know I wasn't asleep, I was like watching a stream that whole time and I looked out, but if I was asleep, I probably would have slept through it too. Yeah.
No, that woke my ass up, because that like shook the house to the point of like, I thought something hit the house. It was like, oh god, the Storm Lord's here. Thor, he's pissed. Somebody pissed him off.
Dun dun dun. Oh man, that's that's so yeah, basically for my stream, I just want to improve on the quality of my stream. Like this camera, the C920 camera, as you can see, it's not a 60 FPS camera, it's a 30 FPS camera, so it's kind of old. I got it back in like 2014, 2015.
Oh, okay.
But it was a hand-me-down, but it was like,
But
it
if
works.
it'll be a good secondary camera when you do
Mhm.
upgrade to, you know, a 1080 60 frame per second, you know, cam once
Oh.
Amazon restocks on all their shit.
Yeah, because everybody bought it for the winter. They bought it for the winter sales and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah.
feel like just because everybody is stuck at home or
Mhm.
everybody has to work from home now, that's their go-to resource. So
Yeah.
now it's like, oh, I just need to buy an extra ring light, or I
Yeah.
just need to upgrade my camera. Now you can't because everybody else is doing it too.
Everyone's doing the stream thing. Everyone's going there because it's the thing to do now. So
Yeah, and that's the most convenient option. So it's
and it is, and it makes sense, you know.
it does, but at the same time, it's like, curse you! This was my thing before last year.
Yeah, it's like I did this first. Like, is it? But the thing is, like, sometimes, like, you'll know if it's for them or not. Like, if they're still here, then it's for them. But if they're not, then that means it wasn't for them. And you know, they tried it. Some people like will fall off technically. You know, fall off and be like, you know, that's. It's like some people can get it. Some people are just doing it to just be like, oh, I can do it too, but they're not good at it. So it's just like,
and then it's like you can almost tell that they're gonna lose interest at some point. And
yeah.
then it's like, I could have used that, like,
Mhm.
even after you used it for like
Exactly.
2 weeks and then said, nah, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, it's like, well, then you ain't real. No, I'm just kidding.
It's like, oh, you ain't for real. You just for play.
Exactly. Gee. But yeah, that's just me. Also, yeah, as far as the stream goes, I just want to get better at making it a better stream.
Just like improve the quality of it. Just you know, more, not necessarily more graphics, but just kind of.
I want to be also like working on more consistency, and to do that, I guess I gotta make myself a schedule. But also, like, since I share a room, you know, with Katie, so I have to make sure that I'm doing things when she doesn't have to shower, or when she's like, you know, still asleep, because you know, she's a light sleeper, so I have to like.
Yeah, and it's hard to kind of finagle that like fine edge, but I mean, once you start getting a schedule, it's easier to maintain. But that's the hard part. It's like nobody else is gonna make the schedule but you, and then you realize like, oh shit, I gotta make the schedule. It's a new week tomorrow. Fuck.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, there's just so much.
There's a lot, especially when you want to do like streaming consistently too. It's an ever evolving beast, and it's like you have to kind of keep up.
I'm trying not to like stream when my friends are streaming, so we don't cross streams or whatever, unless we're playing all together, and that makes more sense. But it's like, you know, when someone's on, I'm like, oh, I was gonna stream, but they're on now. But then it's like you have to, if you want to get that streaming thing done, you gotta commit to what you said you were gonna do and do it at that certain place time, you know.
Or just like kind of start figuring out like what your time slots are that kind of work best for you, and then once you kind of build up that repetition, then it's easier to maintain and then build the community off of that, because then you're like regularly scheduled at, you know, this time on a Monday or on whatever day you choose.
Yeah, like they know when to expect you, they know how, like, that you're going to be there, they know that they can depend on you on this certain time of day, so you don't have to worry about missing. Or if they do miss it, they can always look at the VODs and be like, okay, I'll just be like half an hour late and I'll just look at the VODs after, kind of thing.
Right. It's building up that consistency, but again, it's real hard when you have to do it yourself, because you know, we're so used to like, okay, here's your schedule, you deal with it and you work your life around what's given to you. Now it's like we're finally in the driver's seat and we're like, fuck, how do we drive this by ourselves?
Is this the wheel here?
Where are the brakes? I'm still getting used to my programming.
Yes. I do miss work. I do miss the work. I think it's because I miss the people and like the consistency of like how much work I'd always be getting, and then they would be like, oh, do you want OT? I'm like, oh yeah, I want OT.
Well, and it's also the environment too, because it really is a magical place. Like, even after you leave, that magic stays with you for some reason.
Yeah, it is weird, because like you will go into work, like even if you have like a half kind of gloomy morning, you're like, I'm just gonna go to work, and then like the people you're working with, the guests, the people that you meet, you know, they're just kind of like, oh, okay, you need help, all right, and then you get that energy, that positive feeling, and then when you leave for that day, you're just like, well, I gotta clock out. Well, I gotta clock out. So I'll see you guys later. And then as you're walking out, you see all these people. You see like these families. You see moments and experiences that they're experiencing, and you're like, oh, okay, so this is their day. Like this is that's what they're here for. They could have been anywhere, but they chose to be here
Mm-hmm.
with their family, with people that they care about. Like this is what it's about. It's about sharing the experience, you know. And
Right.
then
And
like
and
the
sharing that magic, so it's like
mm-hmm,
even if you may not necessarily have it in yourself, it then
mm-hmm,
becomes infectious from your coworkers and the guests that you interact with. You know, it might
mm-hmm.
just be that extra little hug from a kid that you didn't expect just because you
Yeah,
had that one thing, that one
yeah.
churro or something that they wanted, you
You had the
know.
last sourdough bread baguette, and you could slice it because the little kid wanted it sliced, and the slicer was turned off, but you just turn it back on and clean the slicer yourself. So you're like, I'll just clean it myself. I'm just gonna slice some bread for this kid. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's not necessarily stepping out of yourself, but it
Mm-hmm.
really is kind of ingesting those different perspectives and letting that affect you and almost
Mm-hmm.
bring you up if you're in a bad
Yeah.
mood.
Yeah. It's
Hmm.
like you feed off of the positive energy there. The negative energy, like it should always like leave at the door before you go into work, and like when you leave
And
work, you
as
should,
you're leaving, yeah.
yeah, just because it's also healthy for you to not be negative.
Well, it's also yeah, because you need that separation, and I think
Mm-hmm.
is well, especially now doing more streaming from home and like working from home, like doing my Etsy shop and like all that
Mm-hmm.
other stuff. It's real hard to find that line of separation and know when to turn that off
Mm-hmm.
and just be like, all right, I'm in relax mode. You know, I'm not necessarily in work mode. Like you almost
Yeah.
have to draw that boundary for yourself so
Mm-hmm.
that you can just leave that at the door or at that line as soon as you
Mm-hmm.
get up from your chair and go into the other room, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also like a thing that someone learns because you can tell somebody this, right? It's like, oh, just don't get mad, and it's like they don't understand how to shut it off. They have to learn how to shut it off. They have to learn,
They have to
how to,
experience it themselves in order to like
yeah.
figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Because you can tell them, you can kind of guide them, but they won't know until they actually, you know, do it.
Yeah, you can lead a
But
horse to water, but
can't make them drink.
yeah, exactly. I mean, unless you
Yeah.
just like shove their head in the ah! Blah,
Yeah. Dang. Oh, that's
blah.
good.
um Well,
Yeah.
now that we're kind of on Disney, let's
Mm-hmm.
touch real fast on
Yeah.
MCU stuff.
Ooh, that's
What
gonna be.
are you excited about the most this year?
Oh, okay. So from the Disney side, oh sorry, from the Marvel side, this year, as far as I know, the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I want to know what goes on. I want to know how they pick up from that. I want to know what are they going to fight against? Who are they going to fight against? What conflicts between Falcon and Winter Soldier are going to happen? Because they weren't naturally buddies, right? They're not like Cap and Bucky. They're not like Falcon and Cap. It's the new Cap
There's gonna be
slash.
that conflict, and you're gonna be like, how
Mm-hmm.
is this gonna work out? You
Yeah,
know?
like I'd like that. I want to see that. Also, the Hawkeye show. I don't know if it says like 2021/2022. So hopefully, sometime this year we'll get something on Hawkeye because he's gonna teach the new Hawkeye, which is Kate
Kate.
Bishop, how to Hawkeye. Which I also want to add in the Kate Bishop DLC for the Marvel's Avengers. Definitely play it because it's campaign style and it levels her quickly through the campaign. Also, the campaign for her is really good because it shows you how she got the powers and technology that she
Mhm.
has for the campaign. So check it out when you get a chance.
Yeah,
Um,
I started playing through that a little bit too, and I was like,
mhm.
wait, she can do this? How can she do
Right?
this?
I
And then
didn't
I
know
played
that.
like two more missions, and then they explained it, and I'm like, oh, okay,
Got it.
I
Yeah.
get it now.
Yeah.
Mhm. Thanks,
um,
Dr. Pym.
right? The What If series, Marvel's What If series, which pits
Mhm.
different stories of what would happen to different characters. Let's say if Peggy Carter got Captain America's Soldier Serum instead of Steve Rogers.
Mhm.
That's a good one to look at. There's also the What If Zombies. What if everybody's
Yes, all
zombie,
the
which
Marvel
is
zombies.
from
Yeah.
the comics, yeah, which is really cool. I can't wait for that one to have um to happen. There's a lot of other What If stuff, and I forgot.
Wasn't there? I was gonna say, I know that there was a Hulk one. Is that when there's gonna do Planet Hulk or
Oh,
World War
I
Hulk?
I think it's World War Hulk. Because on Planet Hulk, hold
Or
on.
was Planet Hulk already?
Because Planet Hulk has been a thing, but it wasn't done under Disney. It was done under like Marvel, but they did like a movie. I think it's
Yeah,
still on Netflix. It was a really good, like a really well done
it
movie.
was
Like holy
decent,
crap.
and then they
Yeah.
kind of touched on it a little bit in Ragnarok when
Mm-hmm.
Thor had to go find Hulk again, and I was like, that was kind of like a little teaser or like working
Yeah.
into like they could now go that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering, I'm like, are they gonna do World War Hulk? Or are they gonna do Planet
Yeah.
Hulk? Because that would be super cool.
Because World War Hulk would be cool. They'd have different kinds of like,
Mhm.
you know. Actually, I don't think I've ever read World War Hulk.
Well,
But
it gives Hulk an opportunity to finally have a series to then divulge into the character that we know Hulk smash. He's big and angry, and he's kind of like the brute. He's the barbarian of the group.
yeah,
He's the muscle.
yeah,
But with this kind of alternate, not necessarily alternate universe, but like this alternate series, you can get like more of the Bruce Banner, the more like intelligent Hulk, where he is Hulk, but he's smart and he can actually figure stuff out. So it's like
yeah,
you can get a different aspect that hasn't necessarily been beaten to death yet.
yeah, exactly. Oh, it's also gonna be I think T'Challa is gonna be Star-Lord instead of Black Panther.
What?
Yeah, and they have Doctor Strange. Oh, they have all these like that's what the What If series
Yeah,
is.
I
Like,
mean, all the
yeah.
what ifs are that
Mm-hmm.
are just kind of
Mm-hmm.
not gender swapping, but it's like
Yeah.
almost like switching spots. Like, what if
Mm-hmm.
this character did this instead? Which I think is
Yeah.
really cool. And I for me personally, I think they kind of already touched on that a little bit in
Mm-hmm.
WandaVision, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited. I'm like, oh, they could do this. It's like they could start going into like the House of M, and then that would be the
Mm-hmm.
segue into like bringing
The
in
X
Deadpool, and then
mutants.
yes,
Yeah, we can see
exactly,
that.
start burning in the X-Men.
Mm-hmm. So I need to watch the latest episode of WandaVision, which is out already, to see like what's gonna happen. Because obviously the last episode, spoilers by the way,
Hang
folks.
on, I got a spoiler alert thing for that.
Gotcha.
So hang on. Let me drop
Mm-hmm.
the spoiler alert, and then I got a sound clip for it. Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys haven't watched WandaVision already, we're gonna be talking about WandaVision, so avert your gaze.
Yo.
But yeah, I'm really excited with how they're doing this series, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it's fun how they're modeling it after the different TV series, like the Bewitched one.
60s,
Yeah,
70s,
they did
the
the I
50s,
Love
60s,
Lucy
70s.
kind of standard TV version, and then the
Mhm.
Bewitched. Yeah, and then they
Yeah,
went more like
okay, so I got the
60s.
Bewitched reference. I didn't realize the first one was the I Love Lucy. I thought it was something older or something.
Yeah, it's kind
Um,
of like I Love Lucy or like the Honeymooners, that
okay.
sort of
Yeah.
setup. And
Oh
so
my.
I like that they're referencing older TV shows
Mm-hmm.
while they're like, this is Wanda's vision of what she's going through in her
Yeah.
head.
Because that's supposed to be what happens after Endgame, right?
Yeah,
That's
that's what
the
I think.
setting.
It hasn't
Mhm.
been confirmed yet, but that's my speculation.
Spoilers. The creators have already said it takes place after Endgame.
Okay. Well, so
Yeah.
so then at
It's
least for me, it's
confirmed.
confirmed in
Yeah.
my head
Yeah.
canon.
So, because I know, like at the end of the second episode, okay,
Yes.
was when she saw something and it was like a beekeeper,
Out
but
of the
on the
sewers?
back of it, from the sewers, and I don't know, I don't think I've read that much in those types of comics, because I think beekeeper is a villain in the Avengers universe or something.
I thought that was a
Um,
reference to Hive.
That's what I thought it was a reference to Hive too. It feels like it's a reference to Hive, and then you also have, but on the back of the beekeeper and in other parts of different episodes, you have
You have the
the
sword.
sword logo, which is on the little helicopter. It looks like a Tony Stark helicopter. Then you have the radio with Johnny, not Johnny Mnemonic. What's his name? Johnny.
Johnny
um,
Five?
Oh, he's the FBI agent in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh,
The awkward one, the one from Fresh Off the Boat. That
yes,
actor.
yes.
Um,
I can't think of his name right now, but yeah, and then
yeah.
also the little kind of like mini advertisements that they include in the episode, which are references to something else. Like the first one was a reference to Tony Stark, and then the second one was a
Stark
reference
Watch.
to, the first one was Stark Watch. The second one was a reference to, I thought it was Hive.
Because Baron von Strucker was the watch. Sorry, I don't.
It was-
Tony Stark was the toaster. The toaster
Yes.
that did everything for you or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like the toaster of the future.
And then Baron von Strucker was the guy who did experiments on her and her brother. So they teased them at the end of, I think, Civil War, the Miracle Children. That was Baron von Strucker, and then in Avengers with Age of Ultron, Baron von Strucker, I guess, died or something.
Well, also, didn't Strucker technically in the comics work with oh god, why did his name just fly out of my head? No, not Red Skull. The other like mad scientist that worked with X-Men that started Wolverine's story.
Not Crane. What's his name? Oh, Alabaster Trask?
No, here, let me look it up. But I thought it was another reference to starting to tie in like the X-Men storyline.
Not Ajax,
Stryker,
right?
Stryker.
Oh, okay. So Stryker is like the enforcer. He brings in the mutants.
Yes.
For the experiments, right? He brings in the mutants. So Baron von Strucker is usually he's a World War II Hydra bad guy. So you would have seen him in like the Captain America stuff, but he has like that like monocle on his eye kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he also works, I think, he works for Hydra, but he also like, I think he does some kind of things with Baron Zemo, but he's definitely a Hydra agent. But so I'm thinking maybe that's just referencing her past. Because
or
of how...
a potential future, because I mean it could technically be Hydra behind this whole elaborate thing. I mean, you gotta watch this next episode because there are a couple little Easter eggs in there that I know you're gonna pick up on, and you're gonna be like,
dang, because I was like, well, like what got me thinking it's AIM was because of like there was that honeycomb in the beginning of the Bewitched side. There was like the honeycomb symbol, and I'm like, okay, so we see that symbol in the Marvel's Avengers video game, and AIM, that's AIM's logo, and their whole thing is like the whole source, the scientist supreme, and the whole thing. Instead of just AIM, it's the honeycomb because we all work as one hive towards the greater goal.
One hive, yeah.
Yeah. So Advanced Idea Mechanics does seem like it's a really good like influence in Wanda's like capture. I feel like she's captured and being experimented on, but also have you ever watched the Avengers Assembled or the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes show?
Yes.
So in Sword, you have that lady. She's like got black hair. It's pulled back to like a ponytail, but she wears like those glasses, and she's like the director of Sword up in space.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. So that's who I think Agnes is. I think Agnes is that lady because she's always checking up on Wanda and always there and always just like making sure she's all right. So maybe
no spoilers, but watch the next episode.
Maybe they're trying to recover Wanda. Wow.
It'll go over it. You gotta watch it.
Okay. Because I'm like, I have these things in my head. I'm like, this looks like this person from this show. They act like this person from this show. They act like this person from the comics. Like,
well, and we're also pulling reference from the comics because we're super familiar with, you know, the story and like not necessarily how it's supposed to go, but like the different ways that it could go or the different like source materials that they're pulling from.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that they're doing a really good job at kind of pulling what they need to make this story fit the MCU that they already have set up, and I think in the way that they want to go as well too, you know, with like the What If series that's coming out, you know, and then however else they want to continue going with you know, the MCU essentially.
Oh man, just so I didn't realize WandaVision would be going there, but then I feel like maybe WandaVision is something I have to watch before the Multiverse of Madness comes out with Doctor Strange 2, you know? So
I think so too. Yeah, I think that they're doing it meticulously to the point where it's like they're releasing what you need to watch before the next thing.
Yeah. Oh, and then The Mandalorian season 3 is going to be out in the fall this year. So
is it this year?
It says 2021, so I'm just like, okay, I gotta wait for that.
But now we're going to the Book of Boba, which is going to be super cool. So it'll be interesting if they pick up where they left off, or if they're going to kind of backtrack a little bit and then kind of continue like
to see what he did after the Sarlacc pit, but pre-Mandalorian.
Yeah,
see how it happened between there.
That's what I want to know. What has he been doing this whole time? Like, first of all, how did he get out?
Lose his armor.
Yeah, that too. And then how did this, you know, random, you know, bandit camp captain get his shit? Like, So many questions.
I'm just like, well, I thought that they covered that in Mandalorian. Didn't they say that didn't Boba Fett say that he like did he barter his armor
I think he did.
to go undercover because everybody knew who he was?
I don't know if he
I
said
need to
that,
go
but
back and watch it now.
I feel like they did cover maybe very briefly in like passing like a conversation or something, saying that like he did barter his armor so that he could get something or get somewhere, you know?
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Oh man, so that's that. Then you have the Bad Batch, which is like the clones of the Clone Wars, that ones that they actually have storyline in. That's gonna be coming out. The Obi-Wan, I haven't seen anything other than the title, but it's supposedly coming out this year, and it's gonna have Ewan McGregor in it. And I'm just like, well, I need to see what's going on with my homeboy Obi-Wan. The Cassian Andor, the Andor show with Diego Luna, that hasn't been determined when it's coming out yet, but I'm anticipating that. Oh, the Ahsoka Tano show with Rosario Dawson, that's gonna be pretty big. It's gonna be great.
I'm so excited. I am so pleased and surprised with how well that episode and how she did that character right.
She was perfect.
She was amazing, and I absolutely love it. And there's like my inner 13-year-old screaming like, yes, this is what I've been wanting. I needed this lightsaber wielding Jedi that was just a total badass. And I love that the episode that they did was such like a reference to like samurai westerns.
Oh yeah, that was a big thing. That was Lucas's like what's inspired him to do the Star Wars was the whole, because they all the Jedi are obviously wearing kimono, and they're all wearing, they have a code of honor and all that good stuff. And it's just like, it reminds me also that episode of The Mandalorian where they taught the villagers how to fight, which is like the Seven Samurai reference, because they do that in Seven Samurai, like the old black and white film. Oh, it's so good.
Again, Mando hitting it out of the park in just so many different aspects, and it's I'm really excited to see where the rest of the series goes, because now that they have like such a prominent, well-established character, they're dealing with Boba Fett. Like everybody knows Boba Fett, especially from the original trilogy. So now it'll be interesting to see what kind of stories they tell with this well-known character versus, they had, it was just a generic Mandalorian, and then they built this story off of it. So now we're kind of flipping it a little bit, but I'm still really excited to see what they do with it.
And they still have to do because was it Mando? Din Djarin now has the Darksaber, but originally it's supposed to be Bo-Katan. So now I want to see like what happens with that. How is she gonna get it back? Because he can't just give it to her. He's like I don't want it here. Maybe they have to do something, and I don't know. I don't want her to die, but I don't want Mando to lose the Darksaber to her. Maybe if he loses it to somebody else.
Yeah, I think in the next book of Boba, I think at some point, obviously I don't think it'll be like a big like story arc, but I think somewhere in the episodes they will explain what happened.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Because at least that way, then they'll kind of be tying the two storylines together, but not have them like crossing the streams,
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, they don't jump into it. I guess that's what I think they won't do. Hopefully they don't jump into it and just rush everything and say, oh, all right, we're done. Let's just cut and print. I know that they're going to take really good care of the show. That's what they usually do. They put their hearts into it, and they think about it, and they nerd out about it. Like, oh, would he do this? Like, no, he wouldn't do this. And then Jon Favreau would be like, oh, I want to say this. And then Filoni would be like, he wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
And then Favreau's like, yeah, that doesn't sound right now that I'm thinking about it. It's like, they check themselves.
Well, it's good that they have that kind of like small cluster of directors that are all nerds, because then they can bounce ideas off of each other, because one person may have like a certain idea of like how the character should say something or portray or act or something.
Yeah.
But then you get a different perspective, and it's of the same character, and you're like, no, maybe they would do this instead. And you're like, oh, actually you're right, because sometimes seeing things from somebody else's perspective gives new light to it, and you're like, oh, actually that works out better.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
it's just nerds doing the nerd thing the right way.
right, which I think is kind of rare, and I think that's why Mando is kind of such a treat for all of us, like, super nerds,
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's exciting.
It hits me right here in the nerd heart.
I know, it's like there are things to be very hopeful for, so I'm really glad that this year is more of a year of hope instead of, well, we'll see how it goes,
Just throw it in the roulette. Throw it in the, what's that thing called with the number balls?
The bingo
the
ball.
Bingo ball, yeah, the bingo ball chamber. Just see what we pull, and it's we have control over what we can do, and we have control over how it comes out. So we just got to make sure that we take every bit of precaution and do things right. We have time.
Yeah, and take your time with it, and maybe if it's not necessarily exactly how you want it, take that extra step to make sure that it's right, and don't pull a Cyberpunk and just fucking release it and with all bongles about,
It's like, hurry before the hype dies.
Yeah, I feel that's exactly what happened. It's like it got too hyped, and then they got like too excited, and then they kind of just started tripping over themselves, and then they just ended up
And they're like, yeah, we kind of dropped the ball on that. Sorry guys, here's your refunds. And
yeah,
we're like, I didn't want a refund. I wouldn't have to have a refund if you guys did it right.
They pulled like a Kevin from The Office with his like big ass thing of chili that he spent so much time doing, but then he gets in there and blood just spills the whole thing, and then he's trying so desperately to scoop it back up into the thing, and he's just like rolling around in it, and it's just making it worse. It's like,
it's gone.
It's gone. It's gone, buddy. Just take the loss.
Oh man, that's so good. We just have to learn that some things are gonna fail, and if you're gonna talk it, if you talk big, you better back up your talk.
Yeah, and then if it doesn't work out exactly how you wanted it to, just be like, well, we tried it the best we could. Here's what we're gonna do to make it better. Like, start focusing on like what you're gonna do to like improve moving forward. Like, I mean, I like Stan Lee, his motto, Excelsior, ever upward, ever moving forward. So it's like, if you're always looking forward and upward, you're constantly thinking of like, okay, well, I messed up, but how can I improve it? Moving forward, what can I do better, or how can I learn from this to make it better in the future, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
We're human. We all make mistakes, but we got to learn from our mistakes, and that's what separates us from the animals.
Exactly, and that's what keeps us growing as individuals and as a society and a culture. It's like you have to evolve. It's like you can't constantly be looking back over your shoulder and be like, I messed that up, and that's where it is. That's where it's gonna stay.
Staring at it like.
Yeah,
and it's like, you're just standing there. It's just like, no.
It's like you can fixate and like focus on it and just continually be like, I messed this up, or you can be like, all right, well, this is what I need to fix. I know how to do this better in the future, or this is what I need to do better.
Yeah. Just, it's a lot of learning we got to do, but we can do it.
Yeah. And especially if we kind of keep an open mind, and if we're not so critical on ourselves, and realize that like we're all kind of moving through this together. We're all learning together at our own different paces, but we're doing this together.
Yeah. Another thing that I like to like stress the motto about, like, I say this, but I don't really practice it myself because I'm hypocritical like that. I'm a hypocritical. I say, don't be afraid to ask for help. Nobody should be afraid to ask for help. If you need help making something, doing something, need help on something, you have no idea what you're doing, don't be afraid to ask anybody, ask anything, ask your dog, ask yourself in the mirror.
Search it. It's like Google. You now have this rabbit hole of information that's open to you literally 24/7.
There's people on Reddit and different forums that are experts, and they will give you information to help you, because humans want to see humans succeed. the only people that want to see you fail are the ones that are just like jealous that they didn't come up with the question first, you know?
Either that,
they
or
didn't.
they have their own ego standing in the way
Mm-hmm.
of wanting to better themselves, so they don't want to
Mm-hmm.
see anybody else do better than them.
Yeah, so definitely don't be afraid to ask questions at any time. Like one of my friends will hit me up on Instagram in the middle of the night, and they're building a PC and they never built a PC before, and they bought all these parts, right? And they message me and they go, "I don't know what I'm doing," and I'm like, "Okay, give me a second." So I go on YouTube, I look for a video to help them, and I kind of watch the video a bit to make sure it's a decent video.
Right? It's like you
Because I don't want to
pre-screen.
just because I don't want to link it to them and then they'll be like, it showed me how to build things with stuff I don't have, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But I make sure that I pre-screened it a little bit, sent it to them. Now they haven't responded to me for anything bad or anything good so far. So far it sounds like it's good.
But
But
that
that's
just
like an
could be
example.
like their learning process. So
Mhm.
it's like they're now learning
Yeah.
it, they're now ingesting it and
Yeah.
incorporating it into their own, however they learn,
So like
whatever.
I give them a tidbit of information and I let them know, hey, if you need help, I'm here, or if you need more links and videos, I can help you find some on YouTube, or you can find them when you have time. I mean, I don't know where the work schedule is or whatever, but good luck with that. Let me know how it goes. Let me know if you get stuck, because we're here. We're 24/7 help. I mean, I get to you right away because I'm sleeping, but I'll get to you when I can. And
Yeah.
that's kind of like me. I may not be available all the time, but when I am, like, I'm probably not needed. But when I'm not available, I'm needed. So I just, I'll send me the message and I'll look it up and I'll see how I can help you, and then, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, and that's a really good kind of mentality to just take forward in anything, because it's like you have to have that open mind, otherwise you're gonna trying to be forcing how to do a certain thing in like a certain box, and maybe sometimes it won't necessarily work that way, so you have to widen your perspective a little bit, or look outside of your norm in order to see things how you can fix it.
Exactly, yeah. And for me, like, a lot of my mentalities of my of daily life, as I like to say, if it's something that I can fix, then I don't worry about it. I don't stress it. But if it's something that I have no control over, then I don't worry about it, because there's nothing I can do about it right now. So it's like I don't worry. I don't stress as much as I used to. Like a decade ago, I'd be like, what's next? What do I do? How do I panic? Stress. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta go.
And it's like you're kind of spinning your own wheels, exhausting
Yeah.
yourself, not necessarily improving the situation or learning anything of actually how to like get past this. You're just literally hamster wheeling and burning yourself out.
That's a burnt out mentality. So then I learn to be like, you know what? This is not healthy for me to keep stressing like this. So I need to relax. And I was like, well, I think it was like an old Irish proverb. It's like, oh, do you have the ability to fix it? Yes, then don't worry about it. Oh, you don't, so is it something you can't control? And I go, yeah, I can't control it. Well, then don't worry about it, because it's out of your hands. But when you are able to, you take care of it. It's, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, kind of deal. Like, don't sweat the small stuff. Don't let the small stuff sweat you.
Yeah. Most importantly, it's not to let, and especially when you get like a lot of like little things starting to pile up, to not feel necessarily overwhelmed by that, but then just to kind of realize like these are all like little individual things that you kind of just have to take one at a time.
Yeah, it reminds me of my 6th grade teacher from Weber Elementary.
Oh man!
Yeah, that's old. But he would always say, he's like, hey, how do you eat an elephant? And I'm like, with a fork? And he'd say, no, one piece at a time. So you take your assignments one piece at a time, one assignment at a time. Don't try to do everything all at once. If you can't get it all done, that's fine. Just do one today and then do one tomorrow. It's not due till Friday. It's only Monday. Just relax. I'm like, okay. So it's like, how do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time. So if somebody's like breathing and they're like trying to like stress what's going on, and I tell them, hey, how do you eat an elephant? And they go, what? And like, how do you eat an elephant? They're like, I don't know, you put it on the grill. I was like, no, you have to take a piece of it and put it in the grill and then eat it. You can't put the whole. There's no grill big enough for an elephant.
Yeah, it's like you have to break it down into little bite-sized chunks, and then before you know it, it's like you just keep working at it, and you just keep being consistent with it, and you build that good habit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what that is.
All right, well, we are definitely over our time. It's almost 7:30. I know. We both got to get to dinner. We got to have our dinners.
Right.
I know, I'm smelling my pasta right now too.
I smelled something earlier, and I'm like, oh, it smells good.
That's dinner. Somebody's ringing the dinner bell for both of us right now.
Right?
Well, thank you so much for hanging out, Kenji. It was an absolute pleasure. And
Alright, me too.
course, guys, go like, follow, and subscribe over at Kenji Sun's Twitch channel, twitch.tv/KeyNixDude. Go check him out. He's got a great community, and then also go check out his Discord too. I'm expecting a great emotes coming out from you this year, sir.
Great emotes. I
Good
think
emotes.
don't I need more subs to get more emotes, I think? Because I only have 3 emotes.
Yeah, with Twitch, it's like you hit, I think, either like 15 or 16, and you unlock an extra emote, and then the next one, which is what I'm working towards, is 25 subs, and then you get another emote unlocked. So it's like you kind of have them incrementally go up.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, did you put that like in one of your gold bars or something?
I should. I actually.
Just so people know that you're trying to reach something.
Yeah, I need to put that up there because.
Or it'd be like next emote at this many subs, and then you current versus goal.
Yeah.
And then you could get a new emote. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm working towards, and then also because I already worked on. I have a Wednesday Squad sticker, so I'm working on getting that. Yeah, I'm working on trying to get that ready to go. I already got the Squirrel Friend Love sticker, so we're slowly expanding. I'm getting that one, and then we're gonna have a Fireside Chat Squirrel Friend too at some point.
Nice. Yeah, we started from the bottom. Oh, so cute.
And now we're here. Yeah. All right, Kenji, I will let you get gone. Let's both go have some fantastic dinner.
Much love.
Much love.
Much love. Peace out.
See you next time. See you Wednesday.